is where we meet Polites, right?
Qualities and
And
your
his
choice.
glasses.
And his
Yeah.
glasses. I
The
knew you were
glass.
going to bring up the glasses.
Actually,
Actually.
glasses weren't invented yet.
Mm.
Hannah,
Cullen.
I ran a Pride 10 and 5K today.
Wow. And again, how many miles is that for the non-UK and well,
Nine.
every
Nine.
non-American listener,
Every
I guess?
non yeah, nine. And I did that in our terrible air because there's a warehouse fire near me.
What?
Yeah, the a food warehouse.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Mm.
So welcome to the apocalypse brought to you by MGM Amazon MGM. Uh I'm back in a toga. It's been a minute, but we're back.
Yeah.
Um
Wait, oh, that's right. You were shirtless for our last episode. I
for
was like, what do you mean?
Sebastian. Yeah.
Officially the gayest movie I have ever seen.
You're welcome. Happy
Yeah.
Pride.
Happy
Yeah.
Happy
Pride,
Pride.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're here. Welcome back to Not My Fantasy, the show where we talk about fantasy films, question mark, and the lore that inspired them. I'm Cullen.
And I'm Hannah.
Today we're here with streamer, friend, social media
Content
extraordinaire,
creator.
content creator.
Stop. You
Oh my
flatter me.
gosh.
We're
Thank
here with
you.
Lil. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. We have so much to talk about.
Yeah. And we've been trying to find an episode for you to come on for months now. And so we finally made it happen.
You made it happen. Yeah, as we continue with Swords and Sandals Summer, I wanted to touch on one of the biggest things to hit the Greek mythology internet community since Percy Jackson, or maybe since Lore Olympus.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did do some fandom deep dives. Other people are better at explaining fandom, but I wanted to give myself context.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Epic the Musical, a TikTok it's sort of a TikTok musical, but it's not like the Rotusical.
Which I have not seen.
I have not
I-
seen.
I have not either. It's on my list.
When I tried to see there's supposed to be Dolly Parton doing the Taco Bell Pizza musical. And then the live stream was delayed. I went to a park with my friend Derek. We're gonna watch the Taco Bell Pizza musical with Dolly Parton, and it was delayed. But we're talking about Epic. So this was a musical that was promoted on TikTok. It was created by Jorge Rivera Herranz. It started as his senior project at Notre Dame, and then was released between 2022 and 2024 as 9 concept albums or sagas. Now, did either of you have any familiarity with Epic before we planned this episode?
No. So literally what happened was we would, like Hannah said, we had been planning this podcast for months. And then one day she's like, hey, do you want to be on it for this episode? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's a movie, right? I think it's a movie. And she's like, no, it's
Right.
actually kind of elaborated like it's just a kind of a compilation started on TikTok. I'm like, okay, I know how to use TikTok. That's good enough for me. I know musicals kind of.
Yeah. And then I was like, and I think this was put into a compilation of all those
Mhm.
fan-made animatics, right?
Fan
Or
made those. Some were
commissioned.
commissioned by the
Right.
creator.
Yeah. And so in its original form, it was just the short form videos, and now this is all one thing together. So we watched it straight through.
Yes. So it was released each saga at a time, like each concept album. And there would be promotions, live streams, and they would show some of these animatics as they live streamed the release. So it was very much felt like an odyssey to the listeners in a way. It's like a journey that took multiple years. There was a lawsuit. They tried to take the record company that produced the first 2 sagas tried to take all proceeds and ownership. And there was a legal battle, so they had to re-record the first 2.
Interesting.
So it went through a lot of the cast was cast on TikTok through like TikTok auditions.
Okay.
That's cool.
And like promoted, like they would show them singing on TikTok. So it was very much like it's a fan slash like indie musical from very like a ground up thing. So it's very different. We talk a lot about like corporate projects.
Right.
Mhm.
And so this it's you know, you judge it differently because it came from the people as it like it's just like
Yes.
people
Right.
like a guy just made it and now he's you know he's selling merch. He like made a big fandom. I think he knew how to use TikTok really well to promote it and to like build the fandom. I think that like that's a skill in and of itself and incredibly smart. I think you know, as someone who used to write amateur musicals, I have a lot of respect for people who do it. It's a lot harder than it sounds, and sometimes you have to go with maybe a lyric that doesn't hit a hundo P because you
Mm.
just got to get it out there.
Right.
Right.
So it's like I judge it very differently than like things that are on the Broadway, you know,
Cats, for instance, and Cats
Cats.
Cats,
moving.
good example. Mhm.
Yeah.
And this would be a very interesting one to try and stage, considering someone timed it, and Odysseus is on stage singing like 40% or like 40 of the whole thing, or something like
We also were talking about that
yeah.
too. We're
Yeah,
So
like,
that's
because
also
you
that's in my
mentioned it.
notes. I did.
yeah,
And when you were talking about it to me, Cullen, you were like, I'm so curious as to like how it could ever be staged, you know, like that's something you think about. And so I took that and I remember mentioning that to you guys, and that was something
Mhm.
we talked about a lot when we were watching it, is that like this guy would never get a break.
yeah.
He would be dead
Mhm.
already.
And it's
Like if this is
very
live.
emotional,
Mhm.
intense singing, which you can do in a studio, but to
Yes.
for every moment to be a high. And so I think that's what's kind of
Yeah.
cool about it is that it can only really exist as is in its current
Yeah.
medium and form. It's like a internet thing, and that's like I don't know, that's kind of cool. Like that's everyone wants to talk about like the new wave or like AI is changing this, or, you know, like but this is in a way was like a new path to create something. And using the internet to actually like create something
Something so
instead of
epic. I mean, you know,
yeah,
not to
It is
like
pretty epic, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was I mean, that's one of the points that I mean, like Hannah said, we had kind of touched on this a bit when as we were watching it. Like so many of these songs are so big and there's a lot of belting, especially for Odysseus, that it would be so difficult to see one actor do this, you know, multiple nights in a row if there's multiple productions. It would be it's so vocally strenuous that it would be so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine a community theater trying to do
Yeah.
it as well, because it seems like this is a topic that would appeal to a lot of like high school or community theater, but you know they're already struggling to find a guy to play like the Beast. Now
Right.
imagine
Mhm.
like okay, you're gonna be Odysseus, you're gonna be on
This
stage.
is mostly men. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you might have to like gender blind cast it if you're actually in like a high school or something. Unless you can
yeah,
convince the guys, you know.
yeah, be
But
the crew. That's why like Sebastian's often gender bent cast in Little Mermaid.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also pulls a lot of inspiration from anime and video games.
Yes.
Mhm.
Which was
Uh
a lot of fun.
It
yeah.
was fun. I definitely picked up a reference or two. I think at one point I'm like, wow, that was very Attack on Titan of them for
Yes.
like
And
some spinning motion that was very much just like obviously an homage to Attack on
yeah,
Titan.
yeah,
Yeah. And sometimes you need the visuals to get that. Like that's one thing
Mhm.
is that there are some plot elements that you do need the visuals. Because
yes.
this
Mhm.
isn't entirely sung through musical like
Mhm.
Hamilton or Les Miserables. It's
Yes.
all singing. There's definitely a lot of Hamilton influence. And if you look at older drafts, there was way more
Oh,
Hamilton. So
yeah.
I think it pared down, at least in my opinion, to like an appropriate level of Hamilton. Uh
So to clarify, so it came out over a course of like 2-ish years. So
yeah.
stuff that came out is toward the end of the story. I'm assuming it was released chronological.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes a lot of sense because I think that's kind of we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I think like that's kind of what we also noticed was that like okay, a lot of this is sounding a lot of the same, a lot of the Hamiltonification of it. And
Yeah.
then toward the end, like the last, I don't know, probably like 5 or 6 songs, we're like, okay, actually, now we're getting some more diversity and stuff. So it definitely feels like the project grew and the artists grew, which is cool, which is really
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah, I listen to a lot of the songs at the end far more than any at beginning.
gotcha. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's you can see the growth of Jorge in the team and everyone
Yeah.
throughout the process, which is cool. It adds to like this feels like a big epic odyssey. It feels like a journey.
Yeah.
So similar to Hamilton. Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's all sung through like Hamilton, and usually in those you don't need any visuals to pick up a plot, but there's a couple things that you need to see to figure out
Yeah.
what's happening. And when I first listened to the whole thing, like I just put on the animatic thing and was just like writing, and then something would happen, I'd be like, wait,
What's happening?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it stars like Lin-Manuel loves to play his lead. We have
That
Jorge
was
River.
him.
Yes. The
Oh,
lead is Odysseus.
yes.
Oh, I
Okay.
And
see.
that
Okay.
also makes in this particular format makes a lot of sense if you're like indie producing something
Right.
that like it's easier to get yourself in the booth, you're writing the song, then hire someone and train them in all the songs. And sorry to the Quiet and the Hurricane, but he is a decent, much stronger singer than
Right.
Lynn. I don't know if I would say he's a stronger lyricist.
Okay,
I don't
great.
Mhm.
I
I don't
agree.
yeah.
Actually, I think weirdly
Yes.
enough, they're swapped.
Yes.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, even with various flaws,
Great
he's a
lyricist.
wonderful
Yeah.
Mhm.
lyricist. This person, their vocals are definitely top notch. Like
Yeah.
that we just kept
Mhm.
raving about the performances. I think almost
Mhm.
all the performances. I think there's like one where we're like, oh, I don't know if
Yeah.
I believe that voice. But in general, like
They're
everyone was
really
a
good.
great performance. Yeah.
She's really good. Yeah.
Oh, she's really good. She's like really good.
Yeah. So he plays Odysseus as well as the Lotus Eaters, uh
Okay. Fun.
Polyphemus, the other Cyclops, and the Winians, which are like the creatures that serve the wind god.
Okay. I also thought I was
Mhm.
like, that sounds like the same person who's doing Odysseus, but I couldn't quite tell because again, I was a little
Yeah.
stony baloney, but
He does a lot of the
Yeah.
ensemble voices, which you can tell, which I don't always like the sound. Like you can tell, but
yeah.
again, indie musical,
Yeah.
Mhm.
small budget. Yeah. You have Luke Holt as Zeus, Armando Julian as Eurykil. Why am I suddenly forgetting his name? Eurykil,
Eu- Eurycles?
Eurycles. Yeah.
Eurycles? Yeah.
Eurycles. Good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to
I'm like,
sing
I have to
it.
sing it. Yeah. Stephen Dookie as Polites, Tegan Early as Athena, Aaron Alexander as Antinous, as well as others. That's the main bad suitor. Kira Stone as Aeolus, Analia as Penelope and the Sirens, Miguel Veloso as Telemachus, Steven Rodriguez as Poseidon, Tyla Sindel as Circe, Troy Doherty as Hermes, uh, Wanda Haran's his own mother plays Odysseus's mother, uh,
That's sweet.
Mason Olszewski as Tiresias, KG Burkhauser as Skyla, Barbara Wangui as Calypso, Brandon McInnes as Apollo, his dad, Mike Rivera as Hephaestus, uh, Janani Keja as Aphrodite, Earl Gresham Jr. as Ares, Sarah Posey Botello as Hera. His little sister is a Princess Winian, Diana Rivera Herons. And then we have some suitors played by Dennis Diaz, Tristan Caldwell, and Jamie Wiltshire. This would also be a wild part of casting this musical is there's a lot of very small parts that have like one big song and then
They're gone.
yeah.
Right.
So you'd have to do some double casting for sure.
Yes.
Yes. So the Odyssey, you may have heard of it. It's by Homer. It's 24
Homer
books.
Simpson.
Homer Simpson wrote this.
Man, that's
Uh
crazy.
in Latin
Yeah.
he's called Ulysses, James Joyce.
Yes.
I always quote the line from that slouching to Bethlehem, but I only know it from Charlie Brown. But sometimes I'll say that to my trainer when I'm working out and I'm struggling. I'm like slouching towards Bethlehem. I'm
And
like,
he's
it's
like, sure.
sure. I'm like,
Sure.
it's James Joyce, but I know it because Marcy said it. Yeah. So we're gonna kind of check in with the Odyssey after each saga. So we're gonna like talk over like a chapter section, the sagas, and then we'll do like a lore check-in of what's going on in the Odyssey. I will say, I don't know if I would say this is a super faithful, yet it does, like when you just kind of hop in, you're like, this is hitting all the main points I remember in the Odyssey. So I think it's very strong in that way. And we'll see how this compares to Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. I think what I'll do is I'll just talk about my joke earlier. I did tease it. So
Yeah.
I was driving and I was behind a Honda Odyssey, which is famously a minivan.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
immediately I thought Odyssey, Odysseus. And I went, that's stolen valor. This van hasn't been through anything.
It hasn't. It hasn't suffered.
Stolen valor.
It hasn't yearned.
Hasn't yearned. It's not a wife guy.
Not a wife
It's
guy.
not a wife guy. Hasn't killed men.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what
Hasn't
he's
become a
been through.
monster.
Yeah.
Actually, I do find minivans to be monsters. That's my
Mhm.
opinion. That's my
That's my
My opinion. So it opens with the Troy saga, named after my hometown.
yeah.
You
Troy,
know,
Michigan.
Troy, Michigan. They're hopping out of the Trojan horse. We get the horse
Yeah.
and the infant, which might be the most Lin-Manuel song in the show.
Well, I don't know. I feel like, well, maybe the entire song. There were some moments that I just went, oh, the Lin-Manuel Mirandification.
Yeah.
That's what I have written down here was the Lin-Manuel Miranda effect.
Yeah, we get him shouting out a bunch of Greek heroes we will never see.
Yeah, literally.
And they're taking over Troy. And Zeus is like, this baby
Kill
is
it.
Hector's. You gotta kill this baby.
You gotta get him out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeet this baby. And he's like,
You just the fetus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zeus couldn't do that himself. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so we get the ballad "Just a Man," which is it sits in the place of an "I Want" song, but it's
Sure.
almost an anti-want song in that like he is scared of like when does a man become a monster, which is the big theme
Yeah.
of this. And then we after the baby eating, we get
Baby yeeting. Yeeting,
Yes.
not eating.
Eating.
We are not
We're
what's
not
his
cannibals.
name from Ireland?
A
Modest Proposal. Oh my god.
Yeah. Jonathan Swift.
Yes, Jonathan
Yes.
Swift.
He drops this baby off the ramparts, which I'm joking about, but is very intense to watch and experience, especially the way that a cartoonist drew that baby. Like that's a cute fucking baby.
It's a very effective animatic, and I think the theme is very clear. I think throughout the musical, and we can talk about it more, there's a lot of on the noseness.
Yes.
But I do think that the theme is effective and like making us understand like what is Odysseus's internal struggle in addition to like obviously the physical struggles he's going through. So I will say that like that sets it up pretty clearly.
And isn't necessarily a big theme in the source material, but he is able to set up all the events to really support the theme, which is pretty well done. It is tough to be like, what is someone's breaking point when the opener is killing a baby? But
that's a really high bar, like right out the gate.
That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that because, I mean, if we're gonna list them and rank them, I think that is the worst. Killing a baby. I mean, giving up your friends to a monster so that you can live, that's pretty bad. But it's also not killing a baby.
It's not killing a baby.
I don't know. I've become a trolley problem person again, Cullen.
Yeah. Well,
good.
It's rough. I did see an interpretation that maybe it makes sense. It's a way to explain why a warrior who just went to war is so cautious about taking life because he went through this traumatic thing where he was divinely guided to kill a baby. Which this reminds me, this is going to be a deep cut in our lore. Do you remember the Sleeping Beauty episode, Hannah? And we talked about the lay of Persephorist, where the knight like finds his girlfriend asleep, and Venus is like, "You should sleep with her."
Yes.
And he's like, "That would be wrong," and she's like, "You should do it."
Yeah.
And it's like, Oh well, she made him do it. Kind of. It's like the devil made me do it.
Yeah.
What's it
Yes.
called? Conjuring 25. Yeah. Zeus made me eat this baby.
What a
Uh,
quote. Sorry, Zeus made me eat this baby. I don't know what to tell you.
Add
yeah.
that to your
God told me
list.
to.
And
Add
why
that-
is it not Athena? Because she's his mentor.
But
She
we
just
have to
doesn't.
root for what Athena wants him
Right.
to do, right? If
Yeah.
she's going to be like, you need to kill that baby, it's like,
We're gonna
well,
be
we're
like,
not,
fuck
as an
her.
audience, we're like, well, we're
Right.
not going to listen to her, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
So
They
then
make Zeus out to be the villain that he often is.
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, yeah, they can't put that on Athena because we have to like her. We have to root for
Mhm.
her as well.
We get the next song is Full Speed Ahead, which is very much feels like the first number.
Yes, it feels like what is it? Fathoms Below in the Little
Yeah.
Mermaid movie. Like it's setting up that tone and stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. I also think that this is unfortunately like one of the first songs. I think this is where we start to rely a lot on the animatics for what is going on. Because if
Yeah.
you're just listening to this, you're like, you kind of get it, but you really need to see. This is where we meet Polites, right?
Polities and
And his
Euryclus.
glasses.
And his
Yeah.
glasses. I
The
knew you were
glass.
going to bring up the glasses.
Actually,
Actually.
glasses weren't invented yet.
Mm.
But no, I just was like, oh my God, what's with the glasses? But I'm like, this is fan made. I need to not think too hard about
Yeah,
this.
because the actor has glasses.
Once again, it's the
Oh, that's
Hamilton
cute.
effect.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cute.
I will say, because when I first heard of the musical, I listened to the Troy Saga, like back when it first came out, and I was kind of like, and then I was like, I kind of let the thing pass me by, and I never really got back into it till everything came out, and maybe YouTube or Spotify recommended something to me, and then I was like, I should listen to this whole thing. But it does it, and because he gets stronger over time. Like I heard like Full Speed Ahead and was kind of like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But then we get Open Arms with Polites on the
Yes.
Lotus Island, and he's like,
Okay.
this song is the first real catchy one.
So actually, this is the song where you have to really be watching the animatics because while it is a fully sung through musical, scenes are missing. And I'm not saying I need more scenes. I'm saying that like things are missing to move us from one song to the next. And it's like I'm looking at the animatic, I was like, okay, I know what's going on. But if I was just listening to this, even I think if I was like really into the Odyssey, I think I would still be like struggling to figure it out, like what it is I would be seeing. But I think again continues to speak to your point that like this exists in its form for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I just need to accept that. And that's what I kept telling myself last night. I'm like, I was like, I need to stop. And I'm glad you started with the way you did, is that like this is an independent project. And this is a young songwriter and musical writer who grew over the course of this project, will continue to grow. And so it's like, I need to just stop being like, why does the animatic have glasses? What am I doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Why are we here?
Yeah. That's me just critiquing myself, being like, I need to check myself.
But this song is very catchy. There's a lot of covers of this one because it really gets to you. But he's singing how he Polites wants to embrace the world with open arms. But Odysseus is like these lotus eaters eat glowing fruit with glowing seeds. And that makes you
Not the glowing seeds.
not the glowing seeds.
I made a point during this song. I'm like, why do the glowing seeds look like the Walmart star? And it
True. I was like, big
and
Walmart.
it took me out. Big Walmart, yeah, big Walmart sponsoring this project. But
Yeah. This is Arkansas. And that it will erase your mind. So they're like, oh well, let me ask where the place to find food is, and they're like, a cave, and it's like, we're gonna listen to the blissed out people.
Listen, this is not giving epic. This is giving anti-epic because this was an epically bad decision.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
epically
right. I'm
bad
calling
decision.
out Odysseus and Polites.
And Athena comes to scold him and remind him that he needs to think and that he's a warrior of the mind.
Yeah.
And we get a flashback to how she became his mentor. how he outwitted her. There's a lot of TikTok critique of this song when it came out, including that Athena sounds like Kurt Hummel. Uh,
Well, we kept being
What?
like, oh my God, what in the well, I
What
said
the
they got
Carrie
Carrie
Underwood?
Underwood for this project. But
Yeah.
then our friend started being like, oh, it's Carissa Underhill, actually. And
Yeah,
I was like, when the
actually.
Carissa Underhill, when
Mhm.
the Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually do really like her voice, and I think it's kind of cool that Athena has like not a non-binary voice, but like that she I don't know, like I think it's just it sound that does feel like that is what Athena would sing like. And she does have a lot of emotion, especially in the later songs. But once I heard the Kurt Hummel one, it is hard to if I imagine
That's
Yeah.
it, I can
so
yeah.
funny.
But this was the first song from Epic that really like got into my head when it
Mm.
first came out. It
I
also
feel
has
nothing about this song. I I kind of remember the refrain because it comes up later.
yeah.
Um,
And there's some
yeah.
heavy Hamilton moments. Any thoughts on the Troy saga before we go to our lore check-in?
I don't think so. I am actually really curious to see where this starts, but Lil, do you have any
Mhm.
questions?
So I have never read the Odyssey, right? I guess I should have prefaced this way earlier, but so I am going into this completely blind. I had never I had never listened to any of the tracks before. I had never read the book. Literally, my only
Fresh,
Yeah.
yes, it's fresh. It's my only point of reference of like Greek mythology and everything is Hades and Hades 2, the video game,
Yes.
which will come up.
which will come up. Excellent, perfect. But that's like I was going in completely blind, so I had no idea what to expect.
And that's, I think, something because like I read it in high school and I kind of remember like the big points, but more or less I don't
Mhm.
really remember it. But I think because you and I were not as familiar with the story, relying a lot on the animatics makes
Yes.
sense for us because we're still missing some context. And I feel like this project is not for like people who don't really know about the Odyssey, maybe not at
Right.
first,
Right.
unless you like legitimately see everything and you're like, oh, okay, I know what's going on. Because
Mhm.
I think at first it could be really jarring.
Mhm. It was. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, a lot of the animatics that heavy lifting for kind of piecing together that story that I was so unfamiliar with. So
Yeah.
I eventually hit a point where I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Which I mean, like you said, by just listening to the music, I don't think I would have been able to piece that together just yet.
Yeah. I think Hamilton is very approachable because there's a lot that's very much explained. Like they literally give you the year every time, that's like super
Yeah.
important and the location, like you get the context. But I think this is very much for the lovers of Greek mythology and that like you're
Mhm.
already kind of familiar and then
Mhm.
you can just dive right in. So it's just like I had such a different experience than probably what is an intention. And that's another thing that I'm keeping in mind as I'm going through this is I'm like, I watched this in a very weird setting that like I don't think
Yeah.
it's meant
Yeah.
to be watched this way.
Yeah, we
So
brought
I
that
want
up
to give it a lot of credit.
yeah,
Yeah.
we brought that up a few times as one, like I said, I don't know the Odyssey. I've never listened to these songs, but also just like watching it all at once as one cohesive thing rather than piecing it together as it was kind of constructed in the first place. It was a very jarring experience.
Yeah.
But I do think it needs to be able to, like, if you're talking about the longevity of the project beyond its current state,
Right.
it is, you need that opinion as well, because it's like you
Mhm.
Yeah.
need, like, how does this fit as a whole? Like, without
Yeah.
Mhm.
all that
Right.
context.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm like, oh, I feel like, I think the beginning is very jarring, but by the time I get to like full speed ahead and open arms, war of the mind, I'm like, oh, this is setting things up. But I'm coming in with a lot of like, oh, obviously Athena and Odysseus, like besties.
I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of like where it clicks. I think probably once we get to the Cyclops, once we start getting to those, I'm like, oh, I remember these.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's where it starts to click for me. Yeah.
Now that is an interesting aspect because this is not how the Odyssey opens. The Odyssey
Right.
has a very interesting structure. Books
Okay.
1 through 4 are about the son, uh, Telemachus.
Yeah.
But we will get there when the time comes. But it also
Mhm.
opens with like the gods discussing setting Odysseus free from Calypso. That's how it
Yeah.
opens.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, but to like match up to where we are in this story, we have to get to book 9 of the Odyssey. So in the Odyssey, he does not kill a baby, and the fall of Troy isn't really depicted.
Sick.
Interesting.
That's
Very
the
epic.
prequel. The
Very
Iliad.
epic. Yeah. Very epic.
Very
Odysseus
epic.
didn't kill Hector's son in some versions of the story, but in other versions he did. The play The Trojan Women, which is for about the perspective of the women, and you have Andromache and the other women kind of mourning the fall of Troy, does have Odysseus be the one to
Oh,
kill
were they
him.
not satisfied with the movie Troy? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So their feminine wiles were offended.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And this is an ancient Greek play. Yeah.
Right.
So
How many
the-
babies have to die to satisfy these women?
Yeah.
So Odysseus does kill Hector's son in that one, which I did see a college production of, and I do remember that scream. I remember that moment. In other versions, Achilles' son uses the baby to bash King Priam of Troy's head in to kill him.
What? He uses a baby to do that?
So I'm gonna
That's
say fuck
crazy.
Achilles' whole bloodline. I'm not, I'm not an Achilles fan, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and your son sucks too, and your mom's like a mid Olympian, not even a top tier one. Boo.
Wow.
Ooh.
Tomato, tomato, tomato. Yeah,
Tomato.
yeah.
Yes,
And you're
chef.
bashing
Yes, chef.
babies. Yeah, nasty. So in the Odyssey, they leave Troy, they raid an island, as soldiers do. Some men do get taken in by the Lotus Eaters, like they eat the fruit and their mind goes blank. This is like that. Do you remember, the Percy Jackson movie and the show where they go to the casino and it's like the Lotus?
Yes, the Lotus Casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic.
Yes, in that horny Percy Jackson movie.
Oh gosh.
Wasn't that? Am I making this up, or wasn't that somewhere in like Nashville?
They go to Nashville
Who
as
was-
well in the Percy
at some
Jackson.
point.
Yeah, they go to the Parthenon in Nashville.
In Nashville. Where was the
Was-
Lotus Casino?
In
Did
Vegas.
they go to Vegas?
Was it in
right?
Vegas? That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think so.
They're trying to
yeah.
get the pearls.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I know about Percy Jackson as well, was that movie. I'm so
I'm
sorry.
so sorry for you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I'm sorry. And Cullen's like, I'm really sorry for you. Helen has had the privilege of reading the book, which we can agree is better than the movie.
Yes.
Even though I haven't read
Per
the
usual,
book.
per usual.
And the Disney Plus show is very fun
Fantastic.
and delightful.
So much
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
So also so that now we're in part 2, saga number 2, the Cyclops saga. Which opens with Polyphemus. Not a banger, but it's like they're with the Cyclops. He's mad that they ate his sheep.
His favorite sheep.
his
He's like,
favorite-
my
Not his favorite
sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They trick him with wine, but he does start flailing and killing people, and we get the song Survive when they're fighting to survive, and he kills Polites.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And I was, and I know I was
RIP,
supposed to be sad about that, but I didn't care because I didn't know enough about him
Mhm.
from this piece of media.
Yeah.
Like to me, to Hamiltonification it, this is supposed to be the equal of the death of the guy who plays his son in the second half of the musical played this character in the first half. When that guy dies, that's what this is supposed to be to me.
Oh.
But we just don't have that same context. So
Yeah.
it's like it fell short for me, even though of course like that's how it needs to happen because of being close to the story, sure, but it takes a ding from a structure perspective that like I don't feel it like I'm supposed to.
Yeah, and they're fighting the Cyclops. And then the Cyclops passes out from the lotus wine that Odysseus gave him. Odysseus does call himself nobody.
Yes.
And so eventually they stab Polyphemus in the eye, so he goes blind, and we get the song Remember Them, where he's like, remember your fallen comrades. And then he also is like, I'm Odysseus, by the way, because the Cyclops are like, who's hurting you? And he's like, nobody. And they're like, if nobody's hurting you, shut up. And then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm Odysseus. It's like, you dumb. And that's why.
Have to
Why
do
would you
that.
show your ID? That's so stupid. Now they know
Mhm.
exactly who you are.
And that's when Athena shows up to be like, you dumb. But she's more mad that he didn't kill the Cyclops, not that why do you say your name at the end?
She's confusing to me. She's mad at him because he didn't do what she thought he should do. And I'm like, and so they're having a breakup over
Yeah,
this. And I'm
a
like,
friend breakup, a mentor breakup.
It also felt, I know we discussed this, but it also felt kind of almost unearned because we had only seen Athena, maybe once or twice at this point, and this is supposed to be some big separation, but it did not feel that heavy just yet because we barely knew her as a character.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like weirdly enough, if this started with what's his name? Theotomies,
Polities?
no,
Euryculus.
the son.
The son.
Telemachus.
If we actually started with Athena and Telemachus, that would actually be really interesting because we see the way, because we get that later, obviously.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we had started with that, we would have more context with her and understand, and then we could kind of see the difference up front between how she interacts with Odysseus versus how she acts with Telemachus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like the structure kind of hurts the musical there, where like there actually potentially was an opportunity to make us more familiar with Athena and yeah, I guess I don't know, be more close to the source material, but that's not really the concern.
Yeah.
The concern is I'm like, they're having a breakup. I don't care. Like, I should care.
Right.
We haven't seen what Athena does for him other than yell at him.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And again, like if you're familiar with mythology, you can sort of pull the context of like Athena is his like mentor, but without that, it is very soon in the musical. Like this, it feels like this should happen after like Circe or something.
I feel like perhaps instead of having the flashback, I kind of wish that she was just there more often. That like anytime there was a step, he's like, I need to consult with her. And then we could kind of see more of their interactions. And then it's like, she tells him, you need to kill the Cyclops. And then he's like, no. And then she's like, okay, fuck you. You're not going to listen to me. Then fine. Fuck off. Go die. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's saying, don't show mercy. Like, mercy's not wise. Like, you have to kill him. And she is kind of right because the Cyclops, well, he gave him the name. And so the Cyclops knows who to run to his dad about.
Daddy, Odysseus stabbed me, or not? It was Poseidon. Daddy stabbed me.
Yeah,
I was getting my terrible lead Olympians mixed up. They all suck in this movie. I'm so Percy Jackson pilled that I'm like, what? No, Poseidon's like he's like kind of like trouble, but like he's still a dad. You know, he still loves Percy.
He loves his son in this one.
But he does, but still, he sucks.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it. That's how I felt about Poseidon too. I'm like, in Hades, he's like this cool uncle, you know. He's just so chill and so lax. He's like, here, take this stuff. I can help you out. Whatever. It's all cool, man. But in this, he's obviously, portrayed later as a villain. So it's very, very odd to see how differently he's portrayed.
Yeah. It's also very interesting because it plays with Athena as a mentor, almost like a D&D type deity, like giving her this kind of philosophy of what like she is trying to use Odysseus to shape the world. That kind of mentions that in Warrior of the Mind, which is cool. I think that's a new way to explore the Greek gods, or at a way that isn't approached. Like people often don't think about them as having like different philosophies or ideas that they support. But that was a thing, like if you contrast the cult of like Apollo and Dionysus, like reason versus like partying it up.
I was gonna say reason versus wine.
Yeah. The wild civilization versus the wild. So it is cool to see that, but yes, I do think this breakup feels a little bit like, okay, like I think you're really emotional about this.
Yeah, and I haven't had time to be that emotional about it. So, like, can you give me like a little bit of time?
And that does lend itself to, again, like the TikTok format. Is that so many times you hear music in TikTok without context?
Yes,
and so this sounds great. Like it just maybe it doesn't have the right context as is in the musical.
Yes, and that's, I think, again, getting to your point about like it would be so interesting to try to solve this problem of staging it, because I think it exists in this form of like so much so like a short form. Like I was never meant to see all of these at once. I don't think. I think it's more of like this is a really big moment that I've thought through of the Odyssey, and this is how I would picture it in a musical. Like this is how I would do it. And I feel like that's what every song is, and that's fine. But if you're putting them all cohesively, it doesn't quite go together. So it does feel like someone who knows the story, they see this and like, oh, interesting. This is how they approach the Athena Odysseus relationship. That's really interesting. You know, it's like you have that.
Yeah.
It makes it a challenge, not in a bad way, just in a really like this makes it special, like you've already said.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts on the Cyclops saga before we?
What's the Cyclops name again?
Polyphemus.
That's interesting because poly means multiple, but he only has one eye.
He only's got the one.
Yeah, he's just
That's
in a
pretty epic.
polyamorous relationship.
That is pretty epic, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty
He's in
epic.
a
Oh,
polyamorous relationship
with the
So
other Cyclops. He's the needy
Themis.
one in the polycule. That's
Does
why.
that mean anything? Themis? Because poly is multiple. Themis,
I'm sure it's people. This is the Odyssey. I'm sure people have done the linguistic
Right.
analysis.
I'm just
of
like,
Right.
I'm like,
his
why is he
meaning.
poly something?
This is from Wikipedia. Abounding in
Mm.
songs and legends, many voiced, are much talked about.
Oh, okay. So a lot of people talk about this Cyclops particular, but fuck the other Cyclopses.
Yeah.
Cyclopi? Cyclopses? I don't know.
Yeah, this is probably my least favorite of the sagas. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think also because it's still toward the beginning, you're still
Yeah.
kind of getting your footing. But this is also where I
Mhm.
started recognizing what was going on too.
Yeah.
So I was
Right.
like, oh, I'm latching onto it.
So Polyphemus in the story in the Odyssey, this is a multi-day thing where they're trapped in the cave. He just slams multiple guys against the wall all the time, every day, and they flee after blinding him. They get him drunk, they blind him.
Is it clear in the Odyssey that like because you know, not to side with a monster, but I feel
They
like
killed his favorite sheep.
They killed his favorite sheep, but also he's like, you came here to steal. He's not wrong. They did. Like they may have not have meant to steal because they're like, we're humans, we need food, but like you could have asked. Like you just came in there, were like, yeah, we're gonna take this. Like, ugh, you know, men.
And yeah,
typical men.
very Jack and the Beanstalk, stealing from a giant.
Yes. So it's like Jack's a little shit.
Yeah.
You know, Odysseus and his men are being little shits. Because like I feel worse for Polyphemus in this moment because I'm like, his favorite sheep's dead. They were stealing, like they were plundering. It's like, I'm sorry, he has every right to be upset.
Yeah, then you blinded him in his own home.
In his home during
and
Pride
you did
month.
it at my birthday dinner.
At my birthday party, yeah, it's just bring a gift to the birthday party at my birthday for the birthday gift. Yeah, I just
happy birthday.
Yeah, is that in the story that like the Cyclops is like offended, and so were we supposed to side with Odysseus and be like, no, like,
well,
he's offended.
The Greek heroes are written with just a very different scope of what is like moral.
Right.
I think we underestimate even now how much of a Judeo-Christian mindset we input into our stories.
True.
One that isn't even always found in the Bible, you know, like with some of those behaviors. It's the ancient world is a very different place. They trick him, they get him drunk, he's killed a bunch of them, he's mad. They blind him less out of like mercy, more out of like, how else are we gonna hurt this thing? He's like too big. It's like his one weakness. And then they flee by he's blind, so he lets the sheep out to pasture every day, so they cling to the bottom of the sheep, and then he just feels the top of the sheep.
Interesting.
And then they steal the sheep, and he sees them stealing. He throws a rock at the boat. They get away, and then Odysseus is like, "By the way, I'm Odysseus."
Tyrant.
Yes.
Tyrant behavior.
Well, Odysseus is a trickster. He's kind of like a Loki type character, where it's less like, oh, you don't root for him because he's moral. You root for him because he's clever.
And we talk
like
about
Jack, yeah.
And we talk about Odysseus. And I don't know what comes to your mind, but is it Sean Bean for me? Absolutely. Is it Sean Bean specifically from Troy? Yes. That man has morals.
Yeah.
That man is clever. but I don't believe that that man would do the things that happen in the Odyssey. And so that's where I need to separate the Sean Beanness from this.
Yeah,
This is a different Odysseus. I need
different
to let
guy.
that go.
I think of the sprite in Age of Mythology, like the little video game guy. He was an archer hero.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cute.
Uh,
Yeah, see, Cullen's a gamer too.
I'm a
Yeah,
gamer.
you're a gamer. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
yeah, my portrayal of Odysseus is just in Hades too, where he's hanging out in the garden, just chilling. And I
just
think,
chilling
and
with
I think,
Calypso.
and I think he is a romance option too, so that's cool.
Sick.
You.
Sick.
Yeah. So that's actually part of the reason I also felt like it was good to talk about Epic the Musical is people who are fans of the musical and only knew this characters from the musical were like confused and or upset by the way like Odysseus specifically was portrayed in Hades 2.
Yeah.
And people were like, we need you to like understand that that's just one version. Like that's not like the canon
Right.
version of the Odyssey. Like there's
Yeah.
one because they're like, Odysseus is a wife guy. Why is he like hanging out with Calypso? And it's like,
Right.
well, that's one way. And this is musical isn't the only way to choose to interpret Odysseus that way. That's
Right.
a common interpretation. That's only one way, and
Yeah.
it's not like textually in the Odyssey because faithfulness as a man to your wife in that again you're like viewing a Judeo-Christian like marriage as a sacrament idea that is
Yeah.
not how it was. Women were property, like you can't be
Yeah.
loyal to property,
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah.
wife
Yeah.
guy.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was a wife guy for ancient
I
Greeks,
think I think he was I want to sleep in my own type of bed guy. I don't think he was a wife guy. He's like, I want
yeah,
to go home type of
go home.
guy.
And I
If
think
Mhm.
my
he
wife happens to be there, awesome.
awesome. They were described as being of one mind. So it was seen as like a happy marriage that like they got along, they got in each other's brain waves, but it was just like normal that sometimes a man would sleep with other women or like young boys. That was just like how that time worked.
Yeah.
So it was more
Mhm.
the emphasis was on like Penelope's fidelity.
Yes. And that's
Mhm.
made very clear at the end. But I think
Mhm.
the way they frame it, and we'll talk about it, is much more the Judeo-Christian, the much more modern idea that
Modern.
like
Yeah.
they're
Right.
both very much
In
staying
love with
the
each other.
sacrament because they're in love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's devotion to that person, not
Yeah.
necessarily to God. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Right.
is again how I would
Yeah.
consider if I was given Adapt the Odyssey. Yeah, I'd probably go with some version of
Yeah.
that angle because it gives the whole journey emotion if he's trying to get back to his wife that loves him more than
Yeah.
I need my own bed, you know.
Yeah.
Uh Saga number 3 is the Ocean Saga.
Mm.
Um it debuted December 25th, 2023. The opening song is
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We get the
Christmas.
song Storm. They're stuck in a storm. That's it.
Is it the
But
eye of the hurricane? Sorry, I'll stop
there is
mentioning.
quiet. Yeah. But they in the eye of the hurricane, they see the home of the wind god.
Uh-huh.
And
Mhm.
we get the song. I really like this song by Eurykillis. Yeah. I had to like sing it.
You're killer.
Yeah. Luck runs out, where he's like, "You were Odysseus, you rely on wit, and people die on it." One of my favorite lyrics in the musical. Because it's like, yeah, you outwitted the Cyclops, but people fucking died.
Yeah. And that's just gonna keep happening.
And he's like, I'm the leader. Don't question me. I don't need you to hurt morale.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, this guy
Mm.
stinks.
Oh,
uh,
brother.
oh, brother. And then we get Keep Your Friends Close, where the wind god is like, here's a bag of wind.
Yeah.
It'll
Mhm.
get you through the storm. But don't let anyone open it or you'll never find your way home. And then he gets like, great. And then he gets down there, and then her minions, sidekicks there to,
Banana.
are like, banana. They're like, it's treasure. And then everyone's like, oh. He's like, no, don't open it. And he's staying up all night until he falls asleep, and someone opens it, and they're blasted about. And they run into they were almost home, but they're blasted about, and they run into Poseidon, who heard his son, his polyamorous son, calling out to him. Um, and we get the song Ruthlessness, which is like the big villain song. And it's the idea that ruthlessness is mercy upon yourself. that you have to
Right.
kill others because otherwise, like he's like, hey, if you just kill my son, I wouldn't have known. Like, I'm not that good of a dad, but now I do know. So it's like your mercy. You're the worst kind of good because you're not even great. Interesting lyric, but uh
It's there's some lyrics. I can't remember the one that I think we paused it and talked about it for 10 minutes because like I don't know what that
Mhm.
means. Was it
yeah.
this or
Mhm.
was it later? I can't remember, but like there are a couple lines where I'm like, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And then I was like, is that
Mhm.
from the Odyssey? Like I couldn't tell. Like, are there actual lines from the text in this? Do you know? Or
Not many, but I think maybe
okay,
a couple. I don't think
maybe a
so.
couple.
Mhm.
Because I was like, is that just like confusing translation of ancient Latin, right? Ancient Greek, whatever.
Yeah, they definitely said you're the worst kind of good because you're not even great
Right.
in
Yeah.
Greek. Yeah.
Yeah. And literally like, wow, mic drop if we had microphones.
Yeah. That line is one that it's like I think I do get what they mean, but maybe I would revisit it. Like it's like
But maybe
I
I
think
would
I
like
Maybe.
yeah.
this is some constructive criticism. I don't, yeah, it's just like sometimes I was like, I don't know what that means. It's like it's trying to do like a very clever, perhaps Lin-Manuel Miranda-ness with
Yeah.
clever lyricism. But I just don't think the writing is witty enough for that or clever enough for that. And that when it happens and it's trying, it's like because I'm used to it being on the nose. Like
Yeah.
everything has been so on the nose, and then we get a
Right.
line like this, and I'm like, you're trying to lyrically do something, but I don't fully
Mhm.
understand, and then I don't understand the meaning of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there were a couple lines that caught me up. This is definitely one of them.
Yeah. And you know, again, as a musical writer myself, no, as you know, as the last time I wrote a song was many years ago. It was a comedy thing, and it was like a referencing a fake musical called Pegasus, the Horse That Wanted to Fly.
Mhm.
It was a
Coming to
ballad.
Broadway next
Going to
year.
Broadway, yes.
Mhm.
It was a ballad called "Who I Meant to Be." That was like the horse, like dreaming of like being a flying Pegasus. Uh,
I love
Cute.
that.
um, but I was always very on the note. I was kind of like that
Yeah,
was something people would get. Is every once in a while I'd go for like maybe something a little bit more like describing visuals or stuff, but I tended to be on the nose. And then when you added in like edits and cutting things to make sure they hit the meter of the song, I often
right.
was very like, I am feeling this
Yeah,
sad. Yeah. And I think
Mhm.
this musical leans into that a lot.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think a lot of musicals do. I mean, sometimes you're just
yeah.
wishing you were somehow here again. I don't know, like
Mhm.
that's
It does feel odd to have, I mean, like you said, to have so many pieces of this because obviously without the dialogue, they're trying to portray this story very on the nose so people can follow and it can be
yeah.
consumable. But when and then just kind of throwing in random like philosophical lines like that in the middle of it, it feels it does make you stop and think of like what are they trying to say right
Yeah,
now when everything
Yeah.
else has been so like straightforward and easier to understand.
yeah,
Yeah. But I do think it carries the message of like the whole ruthlessness thing. Like ruthlessness is mercy upon yourself. Like in
right.
this world, you gotta fight to survive, these are the gods you're dealing with. And Poseidon sinks the crew
Yeah.
and kills them all. And Odysseus only escapes
Oh, and
by
you know what he
his
doesn't do? He doesn't release the Kraken.
he doesn't.
Mm.
He's the
Mm.
Kraken. And one of the ones I saw, doesn't he have tentacles in the animatic?
I think he
I don't
does.
quite
Yeah.
remember, but
Yeah.
I
maybe.
do remember seeing the tentacles. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so they're
Poseidon
like, shout out
hentai.
to
Yeah.
Kraken, something that doesn't exist in Greek mythology.
Yes.
And I'm
Shout
like,
out. Very
thanks.
epic.
So
Uh
epic.
yeah, but it's rough, but he uses the last of the windbag to escape. All I gotta do is open that bag.
It's like
Yeah.
a jet.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
animatic for it is very funny. It's very cute.
Yeah. Uh and so that's the end of the ocean saga. They escape. Lore check in with the Odyssey. We do have Poseidon being mad and sending storms. He doesn't necessarily appear in person to kill everyone. But they go to the King Aeolus, he's not really a god, but Zeus is like, you can have the winds. Just like he has this special job. They outsource that one. You're not on the Olympian health insurance plan, you're an independent
He's a
contractor.
contractor, right? Right.
Yeah. I do love the simplifying Aeolus by turning them into a non-binary wind deity. non-binary icon. Love that.
Yeah.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
It's still basically the same where Odysseus has the bag, and they're like, "What's in the bag?" They're like, "Oh, it's treasure." Obviously, the king gave him treasure, and then they sneak in and open it, and they end up back at the island where Aeolus lives after almost being home. And they're like, "Oh, can you help us again?" He's like, "No, you
Yeah.
wasted my help." And then they
Yeah.
get lost with Poseidon's storms. They go to the land of the giants, which Aeolus mentions in the musical. But the giants attack them and destroy their boats, killing them all, except for Odysseus's boat. I do think simplifying it by just having Poseidon directly sink the other ships is like a that's a great. I think there are a lot of very smart adaptational choices, and I think that's one of them. Like it's
Yeah.
just helps us.
Simplified.
Yeah, it helps
Mhm.
us, the audience, be like, this is our antagonist.
Yeah.
Right. I just had the genius idea of actually pulling up the lyrics to these songs so I can recall it as we're going through. Should have done this earlier. My bad.
All
What happened?
good.
Ooh, I have opinions. Ooh, I do have a note about the song.
Which one? Ruthlessness?
Ruthlessness.
Yeah, what's your note on Ruthlessness?
I think it's just the songwriting, which I mean, once we get towards the end, we can kind of, as we talk about all of the songs, I think some of my gripes of it feel very out of. Some of it feels very modern. I mean, like you said, it's the Hamilton effect where they're trying to make things more modern, but some of the lyric choices and I guess word choices in the lyricism is very confusing. I know in the song he says he's pissed off, and that just felt really like out of place for me.
And they use that all the time to describe angry gods. They're like,
Right.
pissed off, pissed off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but in a story that is obviously based in Greek mythology, I'm expecting something a bit more what's the word? Especially since he is a god, I guess I'm expecting something a bit more almost regal.
Yeah.
So to hear him say that he's pissed off and use such like modern slang is very like off-putting.
Right. Yeah. I feel like and perhaps this is also something that happens in a lot of like contemporary musicals that like sometimes it can be hard to strike a balance, but you're doing a period piece, but it's also modern. And I think if I thought about Hamilton more critically, it probably does suffer from that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Right.
Perhaps maybe more than I care to admit because I am a fan of that. But I think that that's probably just like a common issue when you're writing something you want to be accessible, but you still want to have that balance. So it just stands out. It's not necessarily like, oh, that's not good. It's just like maybe it should be blended more, right? A little more refinement, maybe.
Right. As we were kind of going through it and as I was, taking notes, there were like very specific phrases that stuck out to me in that. So obviously pissed off was one of them. I think they say norm or normie at one point.
Yes, it's out of the norm. That's
Out
what
of
they
the
say.
norm.
Yeah.
They say I think badass comes up once or twice. And it was just
Athena, badass in the arena. Yeah.
Yes, that.
Yeah. I will say I think you pointed out something really interesting about that is that you expected Poseidon to sound more regal. And I wonder if that is the balance, is if the mortals like Odysseus and his crew use more modern lingo and then the gods are a little elevated.
Right.
Because musically he uses he uses a lot more like synthesizers and like modern instruments for the gods sections and like the sirens and stuff to just make them sound more otherworldly. And I think like that would be add another layer.
Lots of different layers, lots of reverbs on those vocals.
Yes.
Make them sound a lot bigger.
Yeah, so the next saga is actually my favorite saga. And I wonder if it's Hannah's too, based on her background. We get the Circe saga. Opening with Puppeteer, where we get Euryculus. First, he wants to apologize for something, but then he goes to check out the island. He comes back to do a rap about this dangerous woman on the island who turned the men into pigs. And we get his rapping paired with Circe's singing.
Yeah.
And I love Circe's voice. I think it matches that we talked about like the regal kind of like divine sound. I think she has such like she sounds like she's like, I'm above you and I know it.
Yeah.
I know I've heard criticisms of the lyric, I'm not a player, I'm a puppeteer. No, I don't play, I don't puppeteer, or I puppeteer. I don't
I
mind it, but
I mean, I don't particularly care for the song. I did like the animatics in like the Cersei sections. Also I picked her as my background because I just like the animation.
she's
Um,
gorgeous. Like that's a gorgeous design that they did for her.
yes, absolutely. For some reason, to me, the word puppeteer, I don't think I like that word. And it's not anything against this musical. I think I think I discovered something really serious about myself. So I don't think I like the word puppeteer. It's just something about it
Yeah.
feels weird in the mouth. I don't like hearing it in my ears. Yeah. And
Uh,
Cullen's like, and I have nothing to say about
I'm just like,
that.
cool story, bro. Add that to my Hannah character sheet. Doesn't like the phrase puppeteer.
Puppeteer.
Yeah. Odysseus is like, we have to come back. There's also a point where they're like, this is the scariest thing we've ever faced, a woman.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
A
she had us in just
woman.
2 words, and she's like, come inside. And it's like, what, what?
Well,
Um, but Hermes shows up to give him a special herb, moly or holy moly, and we get the
Holy
disco
moly.
banger, wouldn't you like? Where Hermes just shows up out of the blue. But it's a banger. I like it.
I was this where, or maybe it was the later uh portion with Hermes. I don't like Hermes. I think
Wow.
he's a little grating for me. Um,
Wow. In Pride
maybe
Month. Yeah.
I
In Pride
know.
Month.
Listen, hey, you
I feel
also were
like
like man on Hermes too.
I was, yeah. So I know you mentioned earlier kind of comparing Odysseus, or at least his portrayal of Odysseus to Loki. But I know
Mhm.
at one point we very much compared this version of
Character.
Hermes to, yeah,
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
Loki as well.
Hermes is the Loki of Greek mythology,
Right.
roughly.
Maybe I
You
don't
didn't
think
like
I
his little
liked the
giggle?
song. No,
I did not.
I kept
No.
being like, I don't like that giggle.
Mm-mm.
Put that on the
I like
character
that
sheet.
laugh.
Doesn't like a giggle. I like that laugh. Yeah. I did not like Hermes. So anything that Hermes appears in, I'm like, mm-mm.
Damn, I love the Hermes songs. I love Hermes. I love his songs.
Hermes stand right here.
Yeah.
Understand. I just have a
Hermhead.
note, Hermhead, Hermheads. I just have a note that says the weekend Hermes, and that's
the
it.
the
And
weekend.
Oh,
that
I think that
the
was from later where we
is
were
it?
both like, it's giving the
It's giving
weekend.
the
Oh,
weekend.
the dangerous song.
Mhm.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think that's what
that
it
is
was.
giving the weekend. Wow, yeah.
Well,
Um,
I kind of became a game, and I don't mean this in a negative way, that like this person was clearly inspired by also like contemporary artists. Because
Yeah.
like even in like the vocals, like I get Carrie
mhm,
Underwood
Mhm.
or Carissa Underhill, as our friend
Chris
said.
Underhill. Right, right.
But like the one song like sounded very much like The Weeknd. There were a couple
Mhm.
other songs where I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds like that. So it's like there's a lot of contemporary influence in it, which I think is really good. Sometimes it takes me out if it leans too much
yeah.
into that.
I think we had that same issue with a couple of the Poseidon songs. We're like, this is just dad rock.
Yeah, I was like, it's
Yeah.
giving Chris Daughtry. I
Yeah.
said
It's
that
giving
toward
Chris
the
Daughtry.
end.
It's
It's
giving
giving Chris
Creed a
Daughtry.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, that's kind of fun. It's like a twist on like a jukebox musical.
That's exactly what
Sure.
I had. We
Yeah.
compared it to a jukebox musical. Mhm.
Yeah.
Instead of Chris Daughtry playing Judas in Tyler Perry's The Passion of the Christ, never
Which is
forget.
such a crazy thing. I still have to watch that. That
uh,
I've
exists.
I did not know this existed.
Me
Excuse me, I
either.
have to Google something.
Yeah.
yeah. Now we
Unrelated.
have Chris
Unrelated.
Daughtry, Lips of an Angel by Poseidon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did now I do really hear the weekend, but I do like the Hermes songs. And Hermhead in
Hermhead.
hindsight
Is
is
that the
funny
actual?
because they used to have like statues of Hermes that were like wayside statues where it'd just be his head and a dick because he was like a phallic deity. Which is
Interesting.
where
Fascinating.
also like
Very epic.
the character of
Oh yeah.
Hermaphroditus, the son of Hermes and Aphrodite, who
Yes.
later is fused with a water nymph and is in both genders.
Yeah.
But it's because like Hermes was associated with like masculine virility,
Okay,
and that's where
interesting.
they get the laugh. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, from masculine
Interesting.
virility. Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we get Done For, which is to me when I think of You Need the Animatic, the top song because
Yeah.
Hermes is like you need this herb to imagine a creature. And the first set of animatics I watched, they just like are fighting, sort of like he just says, oh, the herb makes me immune, like he doesn't summon a creature. And so I was like, what's the point of saying it summons a creature? But then I realized there's like official animatics or like more canon ones. And that one, Cersei summons like a chimera and he summons a cyclops because that's the only
Yeah.
creature he knows, I guess, uh, to fight. And we get the song done for.
Yeah.
To me, that just seems like, why are you making something a headache to stage when it doesn't need to be? You have so many other monsters that you
Yeah,
gotta incorporate. Why
I
add
love
another?
Pokemon, man.
Yeah. Uh, that song goes straight into There Are Other Ways, which is when Cersei tries to
Yeah.
seduce him, and then
And he's like, I'm a wife guy.
I'm a
I'm a
wife
wife guy.
guy.
I can't.
He's almost
I'm just a
into it.
man.
He saw the Ned Fulmer track
Yeah.
like
He saw
post
that
of
pipeline.
work.
He's like, no,
Yeah,
thank
he's
you.
like,
No.
Not
no.
doing that. I do not want to do stand-up comedy, actually.
He saw that podcast episode where he like talks about her cheating on him.
hmm
No, him
And
cheating on her.
or him cheating
Yeah,
cheating
yeah.
on her, yes. And
Yeah.
then she's like, no, actually, fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she's
he's
like,
just
you know,
like,
I
oh,
don't forgive you. And we're all like,
ooh,
she
and you
doesn't have to.
posted.
And we support her.
Yes.
hmm
Yeah. And then
Uh
he continues to make videos. So yeah.
yeah. He saw
Odious is
that.
like, I can't do that. I've had it hard enough.
And that softens Cersei because she's about to kind of seduce him to death, and then she's like very poison ivy
Actually,
coated because she has these nymphs that are her friends, and she lives in this like ivy palace.
yeah.
And then she's like, actually, let me help you. Because he's like, yeah, I'm stuck. And she's like, oh, Poseidon. And she's like, there might be a solution. And I love the anime. This is just a great animatic too, where she's like, I know of a brilliant prophet. Problem is the prophet is dead. And
Dead.
she like is making a potion. She
Mm.
like snaps
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that may have been the line that our one friend, like, she would kind of like came out of sleep to be like, that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's the moment in the animation where as soon as she cracks that, it all goes black and all of the colors switch up for that representation.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And so she's like, maybe an act of kindness will inspire kinder souls. Like, I've been in love. I get it. Like, because she's basically like, she does this because she's the head of a nymph, no nymph erasure here, an all nymph, all girl colony in a ship full of men. She's like, this
Happy
spells trouble.
Pride.
Happy pride.
Right. Girl gang.
Yeah. She's like,
Turn the
men are
girlies.
pigs, turn them into pigs. Yeah. And she's not wrong, but
I was gonna say, did she mean to turn them into pigs, or she was just like, be your true self? Boom. And she's like,
pig.
oh, yikes.
Mm.
Well, you
Yeah.
told on yourself there.
Yeah. But she's like, okay, I'll let him go.
Yeah.
They like respect. They have respect. Which is cool. I just think this is the most like tightly wound thematically, and like it
Mm,
feels like a level. Like if these are all designed to be kind of like boss fight levels, like this is
yeah.
like a level. And I just love Cersei's singing.
Yeah.
hmm
Do you guys have any thoughts before we get into the lore?
I do remember that I'm not a player. She's not a player. She's a puppeteer. I remember that line sticking out. I'm like, what do they mean by that?
Yeah, Game Master doesn't have the
Game
same
Master.
ring.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not a DM.
No.
Should we roll for persuasion?
So lore check-in. They meet Cersei on the island. She's turning people to pigs, same way. Hermes gives him the root. And so Cersei's like, okay, fine, you're immune. And they stay with Cersei for a year. He has an affair with her. They have kids sometimes, some versions.
Hmm.
And eventually he's like, I guess it's time to go home. And she gives him a lot of hacks, like a lot of stuff that he does.
Life hacks.
Is Cersei's life hacks. They go to the underworld to consult Tiresias, who's a gender fluid prophet. So basically, like quick sidebar of their story, a couple versions of their story. One, they come upon a pair of copulating snakes, hit him with a stick, turn into a woman.
Oh.
Okay.
And then
Epic.
yeah, epic,
Very
yeah.
epic.
And Apollo is like, hey, I'm gonna give you prophecy for this. But if you want to turn back into a man, if you spot copulating snakes and hit them again, you'll go back to a man. So lives 7 years as a woman, found snakes. In some versions, she leaves the snakes alone or tramples them, and then either way, turned back into a man. And then another version, Tiresias was AFAB, assigned female at birth. Promised Apollo favors in exchange for musical lessons, but then she rejected him afterwards. And just like Apollo punished Cassandra, he turned her into a man. But Apollo's bi, so I don't know if that really changes anything. But then again into a woman, and then offends Hera, turns her into a man. Then Zeus turns her into a woman, him into a woman, them into a woman. She becomes a man again after an encounter with the Muses from Hercules.
Famously.
Right, from Hercules.
Until Aphrodite finally turned him into a woman again, and then a mouse.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
she
a
needed
life.
she needed to set someone up with Stuart Little. Yeah.
She's
She's like, I need 100% completion rate. Stuart Little, still single. And there's also a story where Zeus and Hera are like, who enjoys sex more?
yes. And
And
this is that character in that story that they are using as kind of like the bet that like this person's going to come back to us
Yeah.
and tell us which is better. I remember,
because they've been both. Yeah.
yes, I remember learning about this in high school. And I think what it ends up that like the person says like being a woman obviously is better for
Yeah, that
sex,
women enjoy
right?
it more.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But like when they're
historically, I don't
not
know if
faking
that's
it,
true.
well, when they're
Yeah.
not, when it's actually good, yes, they're going to
Yeah.
enjoy it more.
And that pissed Hera off. And so,
Because she's like, my husband, Zeus, fucks around all the time.
yeah.
And he's not giving it good to me. So I'm not
Yep.
enjoying myself.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's why you don't marry your brother.
And
It's
that's
so
why you
true.
don't marry your brother. So true.
Yeah.
I have never heard of this story in my entire life. I'm still processing everything that just
Yeah.
happened over the
And
past
you know
3
what?
minutes.
Do you need a couple seconds? Like,
Yeah,
just
I do
like,
actually. Excuse me. So actually, when we were planning to watch this yesterday, I bought some wine for us to, have some drinks and relax.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I remembered I'm recording this anyway. I'm like, I still have this, so we haven't
Hell
opened it.
yeah.
So I
Mm.
broke into this bottle earlier. So I'm like, I just have to
Sick.
give me a second,
Decompress. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
decompress. Right.
You're on Cersei's Island. You're drinking wine. You're
Mhm.
relaxing.
Thank you, Dionysus.
Yeah.
Yes. Cheers to
Mhm.
Dionysus.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not a player. You're a puppeteer. And I've always said that about you.
Yeah. And they
Thank you so
listen.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's definitely not like we did not just meet an hour ago. It's all good.
The Underworld Saga, next saga, released in April 2024. We get the song The Underworld.
Mm-hmm.
All hears are screams. He's in the underworld. People be dead.
People be dead.
He sees his dead soldiers. He's thinking of that baby he yeeted. He hears Polites singing.
Yeah.
He sees that his mother has passed away, waiting for him.
Which, okay. I think this is doing it's trying to put a lot of emotional weight into this, but we have never met his mother.
We have
in
not
this
mentioned his
musical.
mother. Yeah,
And so
not
I'm
even.
like, oh, that's his mom. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's sad. But then I'm like, I only care because I know that's his mom.
Mhm.
If I were going to try to stage this, I would be pulling songs out and repacing stuff together. I feel like a lot of songs would get cut or toned down. We would turn things into longer dialogue scenes like Hamilton, where there's like there's like big numbers, but in between that, they're talking, but they're singing.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is just a series of song, instead of song, scene. Because I'm thinking about like with the mother, it's like, well, I would want to have like a scene with her, or we just don't talk about her. Because I'm like, wait a second, there should only be one man in his life. He's not a mama's boy. He's a wife guy.
Yeah.
That's what I know him as.
Right.
This song this scene did make me emotional. I think, but you're just
I guess I don't
relying
have
on
a heart.
No, you're just
That's
relying
not.
on like moms. It's not really like this specific mom. You're thinking of
Yes, I was like, oh, my mom. Yeah, it's like my mom is waiting for me or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, I get that. But I'm like, but I also don't care.
Yeah.
like this isn't emotional for me as it should be, right?
As it should.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
we need.
and it's a structure thing. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Right. Yeah. So it's a bit of a. I mean, I felt. I mean, like I mentioned before, that's kind of a bit how I felt during the Athena Odysseus fight song,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or the breakup song, I should say.
Yeah.
Is that it? We haven't, like you said, we have never seen his mother, so we are not emotionally invested in this relationship because we have no idea what it was like.
Yes. And there's a lot of different relationships that
Mhm.
one can have with their mother.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
the other thing is like if I come to this with my relationship with my mother, like you will bring in your own context about mom relationships into
Right.
this. And if it can't, if like you're relying on that too much, then the song
Yeah.
is not successful. The moment is not successful in the musical, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
And
But it's enough to I understand it, but I don't feel it.
Yeah.
I also think the animatics in this scene, obviously we know contextually that they're in the underworld. All these
Yeah.
spirits and things that he's seeing are of the deceased. But when we see her, she's singing. It looks like she's still lively. So it
Okay.
hasn't really processed that she has actually passed away. And like I said, since this is the very first time we're ever seeing her, it doesn't feel like um, that grief is there because
Yeah.
Yeah.
we just met her and it looks like she is still alive, or just the way she is singing and portrayed.
Yeah. And those are the main dead people we meet. But we get to the prophet, and we get the song "No Longer You," where Tiresias is like, "I see that someone makes it home, that you make it home, but it's no longer you," basically. And Odysseus is kind of
Right.
like, "What?" But he's spelling it out pretty clearly. He's like, "I see this romance. I see a man approaching your wife with a trail of bodies," and he's like, "Who?" And it's like, "It's you."
It's you, but it's not
You.
you. It's like it's not
Yeah.
the same. It's like this is gonna change you, which
Yeah.
I think is a compelling idea and
And
something to
that fits.
confront Odysseus with too, is like
Yeah.
to remind him like you're becoming a different person. Like getting that man monster thing. It's like I
Yeah.
think this is where it really starts to hit him
Right.
again after eating the baby. He's being confronted with it by other people. He's like, and this guy's like an oracle, right?
Yeah. He's a
And so
prophet. Yeah.
he's like, I can see what's going on, and it's you, but it's not you. Like you are changing, and perhaps not in like a nice way.
Yeah. The prophet does have a very like haunting tone to his voice,
Yeah.
and the way the
Mm-hmm.
song kind of is like circular in a
Mhm.
way, like a weird musical carousel. And then we get the song Monster, where he's like looking over all his enemies and he's like, do I get what they're going through? It's fine. I don't know. It's supposed to be the Act 1 finale. This is where the end of like Act 1.
And then there would be an intermission.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so I actually think this is a perfect time to talk about the thing that Lil and I talked about a lot when we were watching it. And we
Yeah.
came up with a trademark term, which we're going to submit for actual trademark,
Mm-hmm.
is that because this musical is song, 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 and every song was maybe not fully intended to live on its
Mhm.
own, but I think in a lot of ways was produced to be on its own, because most of the songs you kind of get those feelings musically of like, oh, this is the end of a big moment, this is the end of an act, right?
Yeah.
And we called those, what did we call them, Lil?
We called them the big swells, TM.
The big swells. That is correct.
TM.
That's
Yes.
TM.
It's
Yeah.
Yes,
we had
exactly.
like almost every song is like a big
It's a
thing.
big
But-
dramatic number, very high emotions, a lot of belting, a
Yeah.
lot of very obviously still very impressive vocals. But it
Yes.
feels like when everything's up here, it's kind of hard to go through the emotions of an actual story of it going up and down.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And-
it gets very samey because everything's at
Because
a 10.
everything is so high. Yes.
And that's, I think, the thing that I came away with the most is that I'm like, from a storytelling perspective, I don't think the music succeeds because it's all up here and you get a tiny dip and then big up and it comes back down to the same level. It's all up here.
Mhm.
But you need the swells to be in the story itself. And that's why I feel like this is like, oh, I love this moment from the Odyssey, or like this is how I would imagine it from the
Mhm.
Odyssey as a musical number.
Yeah.
rather than this is where it fits in the overall story. This is what the music is doing for the overall story in this moment.
It's a
Because
bit too epic at times.
it's a bit too epic. I
It
think
is a bit too
this
epic.
song fits in the theme as an Act One finale. It's a
Right.
solo. It's about everything he's gone through. But it
Yes.
didn't feel like, if you just put this on loop to me, this isn't where I would have picked the Act One finale. I actually would
Yeah.
have picked it after the next saga, because
Oh,
that
interesting.
felt finale.
Emotionally
Yeah.
more,
And then the
yes.
saga, the song following, felt like a hard reset and a hard shift.
Your act
And
2 start.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes, I think this is a lot would have to change for his staging. And I think even if you don't necessarily cut or change songs, you have to really pull some back. You definitely have to do some changing. But that's also an issue I have with a lot of sung through musicals, even the hits like Hamilton and Les Mis,
Yeah.
is I dislike the kind of operetta style sometimes. Sometimes it works, of the kind of we're rap talking or we're sing talking. It just feels like, what are we doing? Talk, get me to the next song. That's my
Yeah.
personal taste. That's like, I understand that's like a taste thing, but I prefer like a book musical, which is like
Right.
where we're talking and there's a song. Because I
yeah.
think sometimes the sung through musical, it's like sometimes the quality dips and then you have to say things very roundabout.
Yeah.
Like how much of Les Mis really makes sense without context? Debatable. I mean, it's a classic for a reason. Like, I'm not saying it's
I
bad.
think Rent is the same way.
Yeah.
Well, and also to your point, you're saying that like if you would change some songs or take them down, is it just about like rearranging them?
Yeah.
Or is it recomposing? Like making
A
sure
bit
that
of both, maybe.
our
Yeah.
musical
Right.
emotions are in check, I guess. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why I kind of like Cersei's, because it feels very complete.
Yes.
It feels very complete. And like the songs have like an ending that fits the song, but the big finale is the end of the saga, which to me makes sense. That like
Yeah.
she opts up a bunch and this is like the last we see of her. This is her big,
Yeah.
number.
I
Yeah.
also think that like narratively, there's a couple turns in that song, but I think most songs in this musical don't have a lot of narrative turns, but that one does. We
Yeah.
have
Seduction.
character turns where like
Yeah.
he changes his mind, she changes her goal, and it's like, yeah, there's narrative turns there that don't exist in a lot of other songs. Like, so it's like we're not in a song, it doesn't feel like we're moving us forward. It's like, this is what this moment is about. Now there's this moment.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
I mean, that's my issue with a lot of jukebox musicals,
Yes.
but also like pop musicals or musicals that are very pop inspired. We talked about this with like Moana 2 or Wish or
Wish, especially, yeah.
where it's like that we stop, we do a song, and the music doesn't really change or carry us from point A to point B. Not that they all have to have necessarily character turns,
Right.
but like we need to feel like the song accomplished something. And I think there's a lot of modern, like kind of, we're trying to appeal to like pop songs and stuff. And I love a pop inspired musical, but sometimes you're just dropping it and we stop and then we stay in one place.
Yeah.
Lore check. So Odysseus goes to the underworld and he does see his mom. That is in the Odyssey. He also sees Achilles and Agamemnon. He talks to the
Boo.
prophet. Yeah, boo to both. He talks to Tiresias and he says, yeah, you'll make it home. Don't eat the cattle of the sun. That's my big tip for you.
And he's like, what? And it's like, that'll come later.
Yeah. He's like, Penelope is dealing with these suitors. They're eating her out of house and home. And his mom is also explaining, she's like, your dad's retired. He's living in a little cottage. And Penelope has all these suitors he's dealing with. And this has been mentioned before because we start with Penelope and Telemachus, that she's weaving a tapestry and every night she undoes the weaving.
Okay. Yes. And that's not mentioned in the musical up until
the end.
That number.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I was like, as soon as she was like doing the tap, she like undid it. And I was like, yeah, why aren't we? Here's the other thing is that we are A plot all the way.
We never musical. See Penelope until
the only thing
right until the very end.
Telemachus has like a small B plot.
Yeah.
But everything is A plot. That's the other structure thing. And this is something that if you were going to stage it to balance out your leads and how much they can sing, how much they're appearing, to balance it out, it's like you need to have a B and a C plot that's carrying us through. Like
Penelope, we
Like
need to
the
know that
Schuyler sisters. We
Penelope's
need a
waiting
Schuyler
for him.
sisters
Yeah.
sequence, you know, like I mean, like yeah, like why aren't we also seeing Telemachus and Penelope? Like that might not necessarily be in the original text, but like what's our interpretations
Yeah.
of that, right? It's like, and how does that serve the musical? It's like, because we're only seeing like, oh yeah, Odysseus really wants to get home. But it would be more emotionally impactful for the musical if we're also seeing Penelope and Telemachus being like, I really wish he was here. We're
Yeah.
going through it here. You know, seeing especially like seeing Telemachus like having to kind of be the man of the household and protect his mom and help her, you know, protect her dignity, and she's protecting her own dignity. It's like all that stuff is like sort of shoved into the end. And it's like
Yes.
if we B
Mm.
plot and C plot throughout the musical, I think that would help give us the dimension that we're looking for, that I'm specifically that I'm looking for. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
help
that
avoid the sameness.
Yeah, I think that would be a big fix in that that's a big actual part of the Odyssey. Like
Yeah.
we open with them, they're talking, she's explaining it's like things suck, like your dad's sad and he's living in this little shack. Penelope's being overrun, they're eating all the Occident sheep. Telemachus is doing the best he can. Right now Athena has sent him on a journey, but the mom's dead doesn't know that. And so she's explaining what the family is up to. We also get ghost lore that they can't hug and that you need to feed them blood for them to talk. Otherwise, they don't really recognize you. He's like, that's my
Oh.
mom, but she doesn't know me. And Tiresias is like, give her some blood. And then Persephone, which is funny because she doesn't really appear, but it's like she sends these women to him. She sends a bunch of ghosts, including Helen's mom, Leda,
Mm,
who had sex with the swan and laid Helen in an egg.
yeah. Famously.
Ariadne, who helped Theseus and the Minotaur fight the Minotaur. Meg from Hercules. Yes, that one. She won't say she's in love because unless you give her blood, because she's a ghost now. Hercules' mom, Alcmene. Oedipus's mom.
Nope.
So she went through a lot. He also talks to Achilles, who regrets his life choice to live a short and glorious life. He's like, better to be like a poor menial servant and alive.
Yeah.
He sees Tantalus struggling, like he's in the pool and the what he can never drink and he can never reach the fruit above him. He's being
Mm,
tantalized.
tantalized.
You get
Nice.
Sisyphus being punished, rolling the rock up and
Yeah.
down.
Right.
He sees Orion
Mm.
hunting, killed by a Scorpio, the first Scorpio victim. He sees a dead Hercules, but there's like they clarify that there's ghost Hercules. There's also God Hercules, who he was like split into two, and the god half is now up on Olympus and married to the goddess of youth, Hebe.
Interesting. And his
Mm.
human half is
Yes,
down here. I guess that makes
yes,
sense.
yeah. And so he says, so many thousands of ghosts came around me and uttered such appalling cries that I was panic stricken, lest Persephone should send up from the house of Hades the head of that awful monster Gorgon. So he's like, I'm scared of the ghost. What if Persephone sends Medusa's head and just leaves? So yeah.
Pretty epic.
That's gonna be
Pretty
the pretty epic. That's gonna be the solution to all my problems, actually. Just what if I just have
Perse-
Medusa's head? Yeah.
yeah, what if Persephone just sends Medusa's head?
Yeah. Come on,
Uh
girl.
Next in the musical, we get from July 2024, The Thunder Saga, which opens with Suffering,
Mm,
with the sirens disguising a siren disguises herself as Penelope. This was,
yeah.
I remember the song that made me be like, wait, what?
Mhm.
Uh, and she's like, don't you miss me? Jump in the water, kiss me, like,
Yeah.
come play with our daughter. And I'm like, daughter?
I thought this was a flashback. I thought they were being like doing some foreplay, and then it turns, he's like, no, actually, I knew what was happening. Actually, I had beeswax
Mhm.
in my ears. And I'm like,
Mm.
I think I would have preferred a heist instead of
Mm,
the reveal of like, actually, I was kidding. And it's like, from an audience perspective, I would have rather been in on it
mm.
Mhm.
because otherwise I'm confused about the intention. It's like, what do you mean Persephone's here? Or not
Penelope.
Persephone, Penelope's here.
Yeah. I do like I think musically it's one of my favorite songs. Like the way they
Mm,
sound.
yeah.
They have good like vocal balance, or I don't know what the term is. And we get that he's like, how do I get around Poseidon? And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, the lair of Scylla. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Mm.
Hmm.
I remember in this song, he mentions obviously when he's trying to outwit them, he says, I'm afraid of water. And then Hannah turns to me like super dramatic. She's like, he's afraid of water? Since when?
He's literally on a boat.
He's
Yeah.
on a boat. What do you
I was
mean?
incensed by that.
I
Yeah.
am on a boat, man. I got an article theme. Pass me the
Afghan.
I think
Yeah.
that's what happened. Hannah. He's like, you reached over to me like, he's afraid of water. I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, I'm just here.
I'm like, you just work here, girl.
I think like, yeah, I remember being like upset. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? I'm like, we're getting a lot of weird lore drops. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's
I
what I
don't,
thought it was too. It's just weird lore that we're just getting out of the blue now. We're like, interesting.
So you
yeah,
didn't get that it was a siren?
no. And again, it's because I'm coming from this from like, I haven't read this in so long.
But like you see the animatic of her coming out of the water, and then you see like her talons, and she's like sharpening her nails with a sea star, and she knows
I
about these.
didn't listen. I was Stony Baloney. And so I
Okay.
was watching
I
this,
can confirm that she was Stony Baloney.
but like the thing is that I'm taking all of this at face value. And of course, I also want to mention the animatics change style because these are
Mhm.
commissioned or made by multiple different people.
Yes. And
Which
this
is cool.
version even will sometimes cut into different versions of the animatic in the same
Yes.
song,
Yeah.
So
which is a lot.
it's a lot. And so it's like the visual cues that I'm seeing, like I'm mostly confused. I'm like, wait, she's here. And so I'm not picking up the little things that are kind of
Yeah.
obvious.
Mhm.
But like staging wise, I just don't feel like we would have the context to know like, oh, he's being tricked. I think I would prefer to know that he's trying to play along to get information or
Mm.
for protection, whatever it is that his motive is. For him to know that I'm like, okay, he's aware of what's going on and I'm watching him outwit rather than I'm confused as to why Penelope is here. Is she real? Okay, she's not real. This isn't a flashback. This is one of the feats that he's going through. It was just confusing to me. And so I missed the visual things that were telling me something's going on.
I didn't need the visual. Again, like when I first was just listening, I was like, what? And then
What
the
is
visual.
happening?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we get that he is like, you're not, we get different beasts where he's like, you're a siren. We all captured you while you were singing. We're not going to show mercy because we're different beasts now. We're going to cut off your tails and let them drown. Because you wouldn't have saved me. You wouldn't have spared me. So he does siren murder.
Mhm.
And then they go to the lair of Scylla, who's like a lady monster. And she does the kind of we're the same, you and I,
Yeah.
where she's like, we're both just trying to survive. And Eurylochus is like, I open the windbag. And Odysseus is like, okay, I don't care. Like he's like, light 6 torches. And then Scylla's heads go for the torches when she
Yeah.
shows up. Which is this is not a auditory thing. This is something in the animatic is that Eurylochus is one of the torches, holding one of the torches. So is Odysseus trying to get him eaten as like fuck you for opening the windbag, or is it
Oh,
just
interesting.
like that's not really textual in the music though.
Right.
Mhm.
And then you get the Eurylochus leads a mutiny in the song
Yes.
Mutiny, where he's like, you rely on wit, people die in it. Like, tell me that you didn't just sacrifice 6 men to Scylla. And he's like, you want to be in charge, you deal with the consequences. They mutiny him, end up at the Isle of the Sun God, eat the cows. He's like, the
Eat the
cows are the sun
cows.
god's friends. Did we learn nothing from Polyphemus and his favorite sheep?
Right.
And he's like, get out, get out. And they run away, try and run away, and are confronted by Zeus, who comes to be like, hey, I'm going to shake you up with my thunder. I'm going to use sexual metaphors to describe
Gross.
justice.
Yeah.
He's a
Didn't
creep.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that was
think
not
pretty
great.
accurate portrayal of Zeus. He's a creep.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
this I think does that justice.
And vocally and musically, you're like, this sounds like Zeus.
Yeah, he sounds pretty terrible. Like
Yeah.
not a good guy. Not a good guy.
And
Mm-mm.
he makes Odysseus choose the life of the crew or his life. And he's like, I know you're gonna pick yours. And Eurylochus is like, we're gonna die. And he's basically like, you should have thought of that before you mutinied me. Not really. He feels really bad about it, I guess. But the
But
mutiny was very poorly timed on their part.
yeah, I think that is also something that like character motivation wise, it feels weird because we literally just had this moment where he was mutinied, and then it's like,
Mhm.
well, of course he's going to like sacrifice his men or whatever, or maybe he won't
Mhm.
because he's still battling with the man
Yeah.
versus monster thing, which I feel like got left behind at this point of the story. I feel like if that is going to be our theme, I feel like we need more moments, not unlike in Hamilton where we have, refrains from uh Alexander Hamilton from the Hurricane song where it's like he's like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Like we need remembrance of that internal battle in this moment.
Okay. Because to me, I feel like this whole saga is really building up that he's willing to do whatever. He killed the sirens, he sacrificed six
But
men, so he's
what is he
embracing the
thinking about?
monster. Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking is I'm like, but it's lost. I I think that's the other thing is the characterization is kind of one note and we're getting lost, like we're losing his motivation from scene to scene. If he's not going to struggle with the man versus monster thing at this point, I don't know that I follow him on that, like
Hmm.
his Heisenberg journey, so to speak.
Hmm.
I don't know what he's thinking and feeling because he's just going through these epic challenges.
Epic challenges.
Epic
Like we're
challenges.
so focused on the gods and the
Yeah.
challenges that or the monsters they're facing, and we lose sight of him until it's like, okay, now we have a human moment where he has to make this choice, and I'm like, okay, but like, is he enjoying murdering that siren? Like, is that weighing on him? Like, what is his emotional state right now? I don't know. I don't follow Odysseus at this point.
Lord check.
Lord check.
Lord check. So Cersei is the one who's like, this is how you escape the sirens if you want to hear them. The men have beeswax in their ear.
Yeah.
Odysseus is tied to the mast.
Yeah.
So he's gonna scream and be like, let me go to them, let me go to them. But their job is just let him scream so he gets to hear their music and not die. So he's tied to the mast. They have to sail in between Scylla and Charybdis, a whirlpool monster. Scylla eats six men. She's often referred to as a nymph who was turned that way by Circe, who was jealous of her, or Poseidon's wife Amphitrite, who was jealous of her because some other god was loving her. Um,
Mhm.
and then they get stuck on the island of Hyperion or Helios, the sun god. And they're stuck because they don't have favorable winds. So eventually they cave and eat the cattle when Odysseus is gone. He's like, what the fuck? And then Zeus arrives and strikes them down. Odysseus survives on like Flotsam and Jetsam. And he ends up on the island of Calypso, a sea nymph, the daughter of Atlas, the guy who's holding the world on his shoulders. Um, so that's where we are in the Odyssey. Now, in Epic, we're at the Wisdom Saga, which is one of my favorite sagas, and I think it's because we're incorporating more plots. We're
Yes.
not
Yes.
Yep.
B plots.
V plots. And we get an iconic, in my opinion, I Want song, legendary. Go the
We have
distance.
thoughts.
Go the distance. Absolutely.
It's
But
giving
I'm
go the
like,
distance.
go the distance wishes. I don't know. I think there's something I know it's an
Wow.
unpopular opinion. I think Go the Distance is one of the more generic Alan Menken I Want songs. And I
Sure.
think
Mhm.
this one is very specific. It's like he's referencing monsters, like you get what he wants. And because they're willing to make him a little bit more like selfish or like I want to fight monsters and go on adventures, then like Hercules is like so vague in what he wants. And so I
Mm,
think this is Like I
Well, he
feel
wants to
this.
go the distance. He wants to run, just like you did today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
You
like
just
don't,
how far
you don't
though?
understand that.
how
Does
many
he want to run a
Ks?
Guys,
10K?
listen.
Yeah, but Legendary, I'm like, it is a very Disney Princess I Want song,
Sure.
and I'm here for it. Am I here for the Don't You Dare Call My Mother a Tramp? That's where sometimes I don't like sung through musicals because I'm like, this would probably
Is
be
this where
okay.
this is where they
Uh,
have the atrocious rhyme of champ and tramp?
Champ and
yeah,
Tramp.
what are you gonna do about it, champ?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which
And what was the other one that we hated? The
It was
legendary.
the
legendary,
Legendary.
We paused it and
and
cackled for 45 minutes. Yeah. It
and then
Wow,
was too much.
rewatched it again. Yes.
I
Yeah,
like
we did
it.
go back.
I like the Legendary. Though the whole thing, Odysseus
Disagree.
being gone 20 years, and then this guy's supposed to be 21 or something, which is still young, but
Yeah.
he
Mhm.
reads to me as like 16.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like the champ, the legendary, like all those things
Mhm.
really planned him being young. And I know you were stuck on the timeline, but I'm like, he could have been stuck with Calypso for less years. 2 years stuck somewhere is still a long fucking time.
Yeah.
So we could just condense that to make him, because the music, the voice, everything is so youthful for him. So I'm like,
Yeah.
just lean into him being really young.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the structure, it's like, I kind of feel like I want to follow the whole family, not just
That is
Odysseus.
it. Yeah.
I want more of that because it's like, I want to be reminded of why he's becoming a monster.
The girl we're
Why,
fighting for.
so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the son, it's like, what is it that he's sacrificing for? You
Yeah.
know, like in Hamilton, it's
Isn't
kind of
it
the
what will you live
opposite.
for? What will you die
You,
for? That's like a lyric in
yeah.
Hamilton, right? Yeah.
But like this is like, that's kind of a switch where like he sacrifices his family because he's motivated by his ambition.
Yeah.
But this, and so we see how that affects Hamilton's family.
Yeah.
But in this, it's like we're just getting the family toward the end.
Yes.
But it's like I would like to be reminded of like, well, what's the other part of his life that he's
Yeah.
changing himself to get back to? Like
Yeah.
I think the his motivation, his goal is lost for me because I know that his wife and son exist, but it's like at even though I do remember what's happening with Penelope, I'm kind of like, did she move on? Like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. Like also this kid is growing up without a dad. Like how do I know that he's not holding a burden for that? It's like you left me. You know, it's like I want to be reminded that Odysseus is going to go back somewhere safe, somewhere he's wanted, because I wouldn't want this to be in vain, right?
Mhm.
I think we need to build up to that. That I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Odysseus
Mhm.
still. Yes, he's kind of becoming a monster, but he has to. He's got to get back to Penelope. They love him. They miss
Yeah.
him. You know.
Mhm.
I think a structure change for that
And I
would
think
be
that whole
helpful.
timeline feels very generic. And you've obviously they have lines that portray the sense of time, but it does not feel that long because of that time skip where you see the son as a baby and then you jump to him being, 20, 21, and you see nothing else in between.
Yeah.
I also think the Hamiltonification. I'm talking a lot about Hamilton.
Yeah.
In Hamilton, every time there's a big shift in the story, we get whatever year it is. So we understand
Yeah.
the sense of time that has passed. We
Right.
understand that people have aged. We understand that Hamilton's son is now grown up. He's a
Yeah.
man, he's he's got a bravado, But in this, we have to rely on the animatic to tell us 20 years later or 16 years
Yeah.
later or whatever it is.
Mhm.
It's like, I wouldn't know that if I wasn't actually watching this.
Yeah.
And that is, if it's going to be a sung through musical, which is why I don't necessarily want to call it a full sung through musical because I think
Yeah.
scenes are missing. I frankly just think they're
Mhm.
missing.
Mhm.
It's
Thi-
song, 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 song.
This also feels like an act two opener from
Yes.
even the
I
opening
agree.
chords. And
Yeah.
I mean, then it is so like that's why I thought, oh, Thunderbringer's the finale. He kills his crew. He's gone full like, and then now hard
Yeah.
reset.
Emotionally,
Mhm.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
it feels like more of his monster moment than just the prophecy
Yeah.
because he makes a choice.
Yeah.
Then we get Little Wolf, the fight song where he's fighting the suitors and
Is this the
Athena gives
Street
him
Fighter?
powers.
Is this a Street
Yeah.
Fighter looking
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Where
fun.
she's like, I just made your thoughts quick, sick. Hannah took a hit point.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think Lil did too. I heard that.
yeah, that catch your
Mhm.
breath.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
It's okay.
I'm okay with it because I'm like, he's supposed to be the young one.
That makes
True.
sense.
Yeah. I think it's just like it feels like a tone shift for Athena
She's
because
changed.
but I've only seen her twice.
I know,
You
I
I
know,
was gonna
know.
say, has she changed?
yeah, it's just like she feels like more youthful, which makes sense. She's trying to meet his energy, right?
Yeah.
But she has also potentially gotten older. She's wizened,
Mhm.
So it feels like she's kind of making the same, not mistakes, but same choices to train Odysseus that she is with Telemachus. And she's expecting the same result, even though it's like that didn't go well with Odysseus. He betrayed her, whatever. It's like she's too youthful. I feel
I
like she needs to be wizened.
I do think if the whole thing is she's going on the opposite character journey as Odysseus, like she is becoming more youthful, more optimistic,
Oh,
then
interesting.
we
Okay.
need maybe more of her.
Yes.
I think
I
it
think
is,
she's C plot.
yeah,
I feel like it's Odysseus A plot. B plot is Penelope and Telemachus, potentially B/C plot, and maybe Athena is D plot. But like, yeah, like because yeah, Athena later goes to Zeus, right?
yeah,
And it's like Athena has her own journey, but it's packed so much toward the second half.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, this basically all the other characters' plots are slammed into um this song, like this saga. And so we get like We'll Be Fine, one of my favorite songs. It's like the shortest song. But it's one of the
Yeah.
few times
Mhm.
that it's like we go from like a big high to like a very small, like Athena's just kind of musing about like, oh, I had a friend and he was a lot like you, but it didn't work out. And Telemachus is like, well, you can be my friend and things will be better and like you can make mistakes. And she's like, yeah, I guess. And it's like a new
Yeah.
beginning, and it even has a little bit of non like sung dialogue where she's just
Yeah.
like, you're a good kid. He's like, thanks. It's just like it feels young. Again, it does not feel 21. It feels like 15,
Mhm.
16. But the
Yeah.
animatic's cute, the song's cute,
Mhm.
and it's a change of pace, and that's why I really like it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like if this was spread out more, I think I would be able to buy into it. But I do like that you mentioned that like or it's changed pace. She's kind of changed her pace. So it
She has
does,
grown wiser in a
yeah,
different way.
I
Yeah.
guess it does, it does line up. But I think it's just because it's like it's so isolating or
Yeah.
isolated.
Yeah, I remember
Uh,
this song really stuck out when we were watching it to me. It might have just been, musically, structurally,
Yeah.
but I did really like this one.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is where we started to turn as the group as like, okay,
Mm,
actually the music is starting to make more sense, right? I
right.
think we've seen the growth of this artist, which again
Mhm.
is really cool to see. But if I'm expected to take this all in, it's like, ooh, I have problems.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
need to remind myself this was a growth project,
Right.
and I can definitely see it. Because yes, I think like now that we're in like this half of the musical, the music definitely was making more sense. It was hitting. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then we get Love in Paradise,
Mm.
where he's on an island with Calypso, and she's like, I'm in love, like, welcome to paradise, we have everything we need. And he's like, excuse me, I'm a wife guy. She's
Mhm.
like, well, I'm a goddess. So,
This is
Yeah.
uh,
the iconic "Tell me though who's Penelope" line, right?
yeah, tell me who's Penelope. She's my wife. And then she's just like,
Anyways.
oh, anyway. Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Mhm.
Uh,
Anyways.
yeah. I like how Calypso has a Calypso song, a Calypso
The
beat.
music type, yeah,
Yeah, it like
for sure.
matches the character.
Yeah.
Um, and we get that he's going through some PTSD from everything he went through, and Calypso's trying to take care of him, but he cries out to Athena, who's been like, she's going on like a time travel thing of like, what's Odysseus been up to? Because I checked out of that. Let me
Yeah.
go through his old Instagram stories and
That's exactly what that was.
yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I would have rather had a scene where, or like maybe if there's a moment where he calls out to her and she doesn't respond because they've broken up, they've got no
Yeah.
contact, but she's still watching, you
Yeah.
know, I feel like that would have been really good.
Yeah. We need a little more Athena.
Because I don't need a recap of what he's been through because I know what he's been through. I was watching.
Yeah.
And I believe that she was watching too. So that's where it's like, if we had something like that instead of like, let me go back through his Instagram, you know, here's what you missed on Glee type of thing. Here's what you missed on The Odyssey.
And we get God Games. A very popular one in the fandom, controversial. Some people don't like it.
Oh, some of those people are
Interesting.
us.
Oh, some of those people are us.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Athena comes up to Zeus. And this is again, she sounds very Kurt Hummel at the beginning of this one. And she's like, Zeus, let Odysseus free. And he's like, okay, you got to convince all
Everyone
these
else.
gods. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we get, again, this relies a lot on the visuals because the verbal arguments are very weak.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, I'm glad someone said that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't think she's winning here because I don't fully understand why. I get the Hera one. The Hera one, I absolutely, because she hits him with, well, he's never cheated on his wife. She goes, good, let him free.
And Hera
makes
being
sense.
disco, why? I don't know, but I love it. It's just like, sure, because they're all having a different sound. She's like a disco diva queen. Like, that's a fun interpretation of Hera.
Yeah. But like Hera's the only one that I'm on board with her. And she quickly changes too,
Yeah.
where she's like, oh, yeah, but I don't get the Hephaestus one.
Yeah. Festus is a weird pick. I will say.
He's
His
busy
is,
making armor and stuff.
yeah. He's like, trust is not given its forge. He betrayed his men. And she's like, well, they mutinied him. So.
And he's like, oh, okay. And
Okay. Yeah.
But no, they're still people. They were still his command. He had what, 600? And at that point he had 30.
Yeah.
And he let the rest of those people die. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they mutiny. He is not a boy's boy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
boy.
these video game visuals. Like Athena is speed running this level, but it is a musical, and this would be staged potentially if it exists in a version that isn't this. And then how is she convincing? Because Apollo's is he's like, I like music. I don't like that he killed the sirens. They sing. And then not they ate the cattle. But she's like, oh well, they'll be careful this time. I'm like, well, those ones are dead, but I guess the other ones hear about it.
It's like you're putting a lot of trust
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't find any of these arguments except for the Hera one. The Hera one, I'm like, that makes sense. She's like, oh, he's an actual wife guy. Wow, couldn't be my husband. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Ares is very angry. He's like, because obviously they're rivals. Some of the versions of them singing this live on TikTok were a little tough. But
Tough.
Just like because the effects they're trying to show her like do brain damage and like from the energy of Ares, and you're like, don't make her do this. I love her.
Yeah.
And so Ares is singing like, well, he's a coward. And
Right.
she's like, well, he's gonna kill a bunch of people. But also don't trash talk his son. Which again, maybe you could add a lyric of the fact that Athena is stronger than him in combat or something. And it's like, what did Ares do to win? We get Aphrodite is upset. I really like the Aphrodite, you're a little high and mighty lyric. I think that's very funny. But she's like, Odysseus claimed to love his mother, but he let her die. And she's like, oh, well, he was busy. And she's like, busy with the fucking around with the Cyclops. And she's basically like, a broken heart can mend. I'm like, well, the mom's still dead.
Yeah.
And maybe would her Aphrodite was a team Troy, would she be like, he yeeted a baby off a cliff?
Yeah.
Odysseus claims to be a good guy, but he threw that baby off the wall.
Here's the thing, right? So what is Athena known for again? What are her things?
Wisdom, war, weaving, strategy, olive oil.
Right. Okay, strategy.
Olive oil.
Yeah.
So I would think that if we're going with a video game reference, perhaps this is what's one's objection. Yeah. It's always using memes.
Oh, the lawyer.
Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix
Wright.
Lawyer one. Yeah, Ace Attorney. Yes.
Yeah.
She should be lawyering. And none
Yeah.
of these are good arguments. Again,
None of these
Hera
are-
is the only one. It's like if you think of this as like a jury of not peers, but just a jury, because
Mhm.
obviously Odysseus doesn't have a jury of his peers in this moment, but like Athena is trying to lawyer her way through this, and none of this is effective. That's why this, I think the idea is solid. I think the execution of the that like she needs to win by argument,
Yeah.
it doesn't hit because I don't think any of
Mm.
them are compelling.
Yeah. I think I
Yeah.
like what the other gods say to her, but I don't like what she says back.
Mhm.
I think that's the way
Interesting.
I would
Yeah.
phrase it. Like, I just think she could have better arguments. So
I
I think
agree.
there's a version of this song that works. And yes, no one wants to be like, I just play Apollo, I appear for 2 seconds. But this would be a double casting thing, or we're community theater and everyone gets a small part. Uh Lore check for post Wisdom Saga, one of my favorites. So this is actually where the Odyssey begins with the gods debating, setting Odysseus free. Poseidon is out of office, he's in Ethiopia. And so Athena is like, time to persuade Zeus while Poseidon's gone. Um, she's also helping Telemachus escape suitors who are trying to kill him in various schemes. We learn about Penelope and the loom, and the suitors know and they're complaining about it. Uh, Telemachus goes on a trip to Sparta where Helen is living with Menelaus. She's happy, her kids are getting married. Helen and Menelaus tell different versions of her time in
Wait,
Troy.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You're trying to tell me that she escaped Troy from the siege and her and Menelaus are together?
Yeah, he got her out of the siege and they live together. That's the canon ending.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
I
she's
don't
like,
think Diane Kruger would do that, but
no, not Diane Kruger's Helen, but she's like, oh yeah, I remember Odysseus stealing the statue of the Palladium and seeing him, and I was happy because by then Paris was dead and I was married to some other guy. I regretted what Aphrodite made me do. And then Menelaus is like, oh, I remember you taunting people outside the horse, trying to shout like people's wives' names, see if someone was in there. So this kind of like multiple narratives, like deconstructing the Iliad kind of thing going on,
right.
where Helen and Menelaus remember events differently. It's like she's just probably trying to go along with the fact that she's stuck here now.
Mm.
So that's what's going on in the Odyssey. In
Epic.
Epic, we have the Vengeance Saga,
Right.
which I would shorten. Um,
Listen, there's a lot about this musical I would shorten.
I
uh,
agree.
Yeah, so you get Not Sorry for Loving You, which I actually do really like this song. So Calypso is like, they say you're going, and she sings this song. She's like, I'm not sorry for loving you. Like, I'm sorry if I came on too strong. You know, I did kidnap you. Um, and she's
Yeah.
I swear we had these moments. And he's like, well, I love you, just not the way you want me to. Uh,
Which hits, I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I feel that.
She's played by a black actress is unfortunately because of that people are racist about her.
Right,
Yes.
of course.
So
Of course,
people
right.
are obviously like she's super evil and abusive. They're even animatics that are trying like she's abusive, she's a narcissist, whatever. And like Odysseus is just like a victim boy. And it's like this man did throw a baby off a cliff and kill a bunch of sirens and do a lot of things and will do more things. He's not a little weeby
This
baby
is,
cinnamon roll.
yeah, he's not baby Goral.
Yeah.
He's
Um,
not baby girl.
And
this
this
is okay. So my thing is I don't really remember the Calypso stuff
in the Odyssey or in this?
in the Odyssey.
Okay.
But in this, I also don't super remember it because it's very short.
Yes.
It's just, hey, I found you, I'm kidnapping you. And then it's, oh, you have to leave. And I'm upset about that. And I'm not sorry for loving you, but also now I hate you because you're breaking my heart. Right. Like,
Yeah.
but there's nothing else in between. It's all, I should know this coming in. This
Yeah.
isn't scene. Like, this is not scene work. This
Mhm.
is not character arcs. This is decision points in song.
Yeah.
I don't like that because it's not a story.
We're cramming a lot of material into a musical, but then some things, why do they get a song?
Yeah.
Uh I just it's so unfortunate that people are racist about Calypso and that everyone has to be racist now. Um not they don't have to be, they choose to be, but beautiful performance. And I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
Calypso
Love
is a
her voice.
character that could be very easily written to be unsympathetic. And this writing style is not giving. She's actually a narcissistic, manipulative ex, and this is her manipulative song, and she's so
Mhm.
controlling. It's like, no, the song is. I think she's written to be somewhat sympathetic. Like, even
But
we
I
will
think it's
talk
too
about her
late.
in the yeah. I mean,
It,
it's she's a small character in the grand
yeah,
scheme, but I think we'll talk about what she's like in the Odyssey. But I think she was written to be more sympathetic than she is in the Odyssey. So I'm kind of like,
right,
why are we coming for her? Oh, because she's black.
right. I
Mhm.
And
think
white
like
boys are always little victims. Yeah.
we get her moment of like, I love you. I like she's lonely, right? We get why she did this, but it's in the second song.
Yeah.
The first song
Mhm.
is I found you, I'm keeping you.
Yeah.
There's a middle part of this that we're missing. It's really easy for us to just focus on the fact that, like, well, he's been kidnapped. It's like, well, of course he wants to leave.
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, but like, I was so lonely. And it's like, that is manipulative. And then he's like, no, I did love you, just not in the way you want. And it's like, well, I didn't see any of that.
Yeah. We
And
didn't
so it's
see
like,
their relationship really at all.
Right.
yeah. And so it's like, I have to accept that he's a victim and that she is the perpetrator
Yeah.
even if I can empathize, like, yeah, I get why she did it, but still, like, that's not right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I'm supposed to feel for her, like, genuinely, I was like, I'm sorry, but you're still an abuser.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're missing context for me to, like,
Yeah.
Right.
We next we get another Hermes song, Dangerous. I know you're not Hermes haters. I like this one. But but functionally it is kind of like he's like, okay, yeah, I love danger. We're going on the journey. Here's a windbag, don't open it. And that's really all this is. And it's a good chunk of time. We get a fun animatic of him dancing on the raft.
yeah,
And then we get Cherbidus, who is connected with Scylla in the story, but now is a separate thing. Sure, he gets past it. This is where I'm like, why are we doing this?
it feels like
Yeah.
now we're rushing through his feet
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
get to the end.
And then we get in the water / 600 strike where finally sees Poseidon and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then through the power of friendship and his dead friends, he can rally to use the windbag as a
The
jetpack
jetpack, right.
to fight
Right, right.
Poseidon and stab him a bunch and take the trident and keep stabbing him. And he's like, you can't kill me. And he's like, well, like Prometheus. He doesn't say Prometheus, but that's what I'm
Right.
pulling. Like, I can torture you indefinitely. And he's like, you're a monster. And he's like, didn't you tell me to be ruthless? And we get the line, how are you supposed to sleep at night? And he's like, next to my
My
wife.
wife.
I'm a
White
white
guy.
guy.
uh,
Where-
this is a little goofy. You can't not see it.
It's a lot goofy.
It's a lot
He
goofy.
does not defeat Poseidon. We'll get to write that in the Odyssey because Poseidon's a god and he's immortal, and that's just not something you can do. And this is definitely a marvelification of Greek mythology.
Right.
There is a
Mhm.
lot of marvelification of Greek mythology in general in this musical, and this is pretty egregious. Because Poseidon is just like a boss battle, essentially, not the concept of the being who controls the oceans. A jetpack windbag. I mean, I guess it's creative,
Yeah.
and it's a full journey, but then it also takes away from the sort of monster climax that we're about to get to. Okay, lore check. Hermes comes to Calypso, who's keeping him enchanted. She wants to make Odysseus immortal, and he was into it at first. In some stories, they have kids, um, but he's bored now. He's sighing for his wife. He wants to go home. And so she is trying to persuade him to stay, but ultimately he's like, I know you're not as like hot, or my wife isn't as hot as you, but I just want to be home. Because she's like, I'm immortal. And he's like, I know she's not immortal, she's not as tall, whatever, but I love her, I want to be home.
So crazy.
Uh, and she is kind and helps him make a ship and gets him what he needs. But we have this line that when Hermes is like, you gotta let him go. Calypso trembled with rage when she heard this. You gods, she exclaimed, ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You are always jealous and hate seeing a goddess take a fancy to a mortal man and live with him in open matrimony. So when rosy-fingered Dawn made love to Orion, you precious gods were all of you furious till Artemis went and killed him in Ortygia. So again, when Ceres fell in love with Iasion and yielded to him in a thrice-plowed fallow field, Zeus came to hear of it before very long and killed Iasion with his thunderbolts. And now you're angry with me too, because I have a man here. I found the poor creature sitting all alone astride of a keel, for Zeus had struck his ship with lightning and sunk it in mid-ocean, so that all his crew were drowned, while he himself was driven by the wind and waves onto my island. I got fond of him and cherished him, and had set my heart in making him immortal, so that he could never grow old all his days. Still, I cannot cross Zeus, nor bring his counsels to nothing. Therefore, if he insists upon it, let the man go beyond the seas again. But I cannot send him anywhere myself, for I have neither ships nor men who can take him. Nevertheless, I will readily give him such advice in all good faith as will likely to be to bring him safely to his own country. So she's like, y'all hate to see a goddess winning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not
she's-
girls.
Yeah, she's happy. She's got a guy.
Yeah.
They're mad.
Yeah, she's a feminist icon in her own way. She's
Mhm.
like, let goddesses sleep with mortals.
Let
Let
girls
us
have
kidnap
fun.
men. Yeah,
Let girls have
girls just
fun.
want to have fun.
Girls have fun.
So he gets on his raft. He's struck by Poseidon, but is helped by Ino, a sea goddess who was once the mortal daughter of Cadmus, king of Thebes, and Harmonia, daughter of Ares and Aphrodite, who jumped into the sea to escape a violent male relative made angry by Hera, or because she felt guilty. Either way, she became a sea goddess. Now she helps Odysseus. And this is actually where we first meet Odysseus in the Odyssey. And he's naked, and Athena helps Nausicaa and the Valley of the Winds. So Nausicaa, the daughter of this Phaeacian king and queen, Athena helps her find him as she's washing her clothes. Athena's like, go wash your clothes. Then she sees this naked man and she's like, let me help you. Uh, he's taken to court. They're singing. They sing of Aphrodite and Ares' affair and Aphrodite being married to Hephaestus. But in the Iliad, Hephaestus was married to one of the Graces. But this is Hephaestus trapping Ares and Aphrodite in a see-through net to like mock them. And then all the other gods are like hot. And he's like, wait, this isn't what I wanted. But this is it's a commonly accepted thing, but this is the only source where Aphrodite and Hephaestus are married.
Interesting.
But everyone kind of sees it as like a part of mythology, but it's only from here. Usually she's fucking with Ares. Then they sing of Troy and he cries, reveals his identity. He tells his tale. So we get everything that happened to him. They help him get home to Ithaca. On their way home, Poseidon turns their ships to stone. But Odysseus makes it home. The Ithaca saga, the finale.
Ithaca, New York.
Ithaca, New
He's
York.
going to Ithaca College.
From Troy, Michigan to Ithaca, New York.
Wow, what a dream.
That'd be a fun little Odyssey themed trip.
That is actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Good old
I do like
Odie.
that. Okay. Actually, let's quickly talk about that. They've been calling him Odie.
Odie.
I don't like it.
It's just hard to sing Odysseus.
I get it, but I don't like it.
Odie the wife guy.
Yeah. I don't like it.
You don't like it.
No.
So we get the challenge, which is Penelope's big song, where she's like, every night I unweave this tapestry.
This should be the third song in the musical where we get introduced to Penelope. Thank you very much. That's my TED Talk. Thank you for coming.
She's like, I'm going to announce this challenge where they have to shoot the bow through the 12 axes to marry him. I feel like there's a sign.
This is not the first time. This is like, I do this, and like anyone who wants to try to like come and get me, they have to. So this is the thing that happens occurringly. Like, well, this is the
first time she does the challenge in the Odyssey and in the story, the musical. Yes, this is also the first time we really see Penelope herself, not a siren, pretending to be Penelope.
Right.
I will say the song is a banger. I think she sings so good.
Yeah, her voice is really good. I think I get this is just the structure thing where I'm like, I feel like I wanted this earlier.
Yeah, when she's talking about waiting, when she's talking about what she'll do for love, like you feel it all, but we should have got this earlier. Then we get Hold Them Down, a rough song to hear, basically about the suitors are like, this is bogus. We're going to kill Telemachus and we're going to Penelope. And this is so we know we're really bad, so you don't feel that bad when we're killed. And then we get Odysseus, where he shows up, he shoots the suitor, shoots the arrow through the 12 axes, kills the suitor, baller move. And then he turns off the lights, slowly kills them all. Telemachus fights them, they almost overwhelm him. Odysseus kills them. And this is his big, I'm a monster, I kill a bunch of people, but they're all attempted risks, so
Right.
aw,
Right.
aw,
Mm.
okay.
Mhm.
uh, and then we get I Can't Help But Wonder. I actually really like the last two songs of this musical a lot.
I agree. I think emotionally, like the music fits. I'm being brought up to that moment. I think that is definitely successful.
So we get I Can't Help But Wonder, where he's meeting his son really for the first time. And they're singing about the son wondered what he would be like. He wondered what his son would be like. And
Mhm.
they're reunited. My son, I'm finally home feels because they start singing soft when he shouts, My son, I'm finally home, you feel like
Yeah.
that's why you don't always have to shout sing.
Mhm.
And then we get Athena. I also love that Athena, we don't need to do a full separate song. We can weave it into this one. Athena shows up and is like, I think I led you astray. I think we need to be kinder to each other. And Odysseus is like, that's not the world I live in. You're immortal. You can make it happen. But this is the world I'm in. I have to go see Penelope. There's a girl I have to see. And Athena's like, bye. Also, we didn't mention that Zeus like kind of blinded her or like super thundered her down
And we also didn't
Yeah.
really
in
talk
God
so much about
games.
like the well, yeah. There's
And
also the really R wordy sequence. We didn't really talk about the animatics for
yeah, the
that.
animatics was
I'm
Yeah, that was
rough.
not
I'm
great.
glad that you said something, but I did also forget that you had said something. And as soon as it was happening, I was like, oh, this is it. And I was like, but it's not even the animatic. I also think that song
Mhm.
is very R wordy,
Yes.
Which I'm sure was
which
was
absolutely,
intentional to paint them as
but
antagonists.
I'm going to be really honest. I don't necessarily think it's earned. And I don't necessarily think that where it's placed makes sense, especially if like this is supposed to be like, I'm afraid for her. We should be building up to this better.
Yeah.
And that's why I think then we won't need a really R-wordy sequence. If we build up
Yeah.
to like the ramping up of the potential violence toward her
Mhm.
without having to make the reference of like we're gonna hold her down. So that's
Yeah.
where my big structure issue comes in is like that is not earned because structurally you could have done it differently. So then you can avoid having to go all the way, but you still make your point and you're ramping up the story. So like Odysseus needs to get home. He's got to
Yeah.
help her out.
I think also because it's an animatic, they feel the need that they have to kind of show directly what they're singing about. And I think on
Exactly.
stage, I think the guy sings it really menacingly.
Yeah.
And so I think on stage, just someone singing those lyrics, black background, still scary. You don't need
Yes.
the
Mhm.
visual. Um,
Exactly. Less is more for the effect.
yeah.
And I think that
Mhm.
the visual here hurt it because I was like, this is too much.
It's just triggering,
Mhm.
and you're not actually in the fear for the character. It's just kind of triggering you.
I am
That's how
in
I
the fear
felt
for
as
the
I watched
character.
it.
Yeah, it's like I am in the fear for the character, but I'm ultimately just like, this is not earned. You did not
Yeah.
earn my feeling this kind of discomfort.
Yeah. So Athena's blinded.
Mhm.
She got thunderbolted down, and it's like her friendship with Telemachus that like inspires her.
Yeah.
So I liked Athena's
Mhm.
arc, and I liked that we didn't have to have it's just a small thing to end it. And then we focus on Odysseus and Penelope,
Yeah.
and Would You Fall in Love with Me Again, where she's like, what did you do? He's like, I did all these terrible things to get to you. And she's like, okay, what do you do? And then he's like, I did all this. I did all these terrible things. And then she's like, well, move the wedding bed. And he's like, well, I planted that in the tree we first met. And she's like, oh, well, that's my husband. The only one who knew that is my husband. So you're my husband. And it's a twist on he's become someone else, but to her, she's still like the same. Like she still will fall in love with him over and over again, which became a trending sound on TikTok. People would do that with like they did with like Cinderella's, because there's a ton of Cinderella movies, or like characters that are always together in different iterations. And so it was cute with that. But I think they sing really beautifully. I like that the final note is a soft "I love you" instead of like something big and epic. Um, it, uh, I just think it's a good song. I
Yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
and I love Penelope's voice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no like ending with like a big ensemble thing, which is
No.
very common of musicals.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't happen in this. And I think it's good because it retains a focus on he's a wife guy. And I know we keep saying this
Mm-hmm.
joke, but like that's his big motivation.
Yeah.
I will say that him greeting Telemachus feels a little flat because he's been a
Yeah.
wife guy, not a dad guy.
True.
But I do think that this is a emotionally satisfying ending with Telemachus and with her. I
Yeah.
definitely think that like this is the heart
Yeah.
of the musical, where I feel like in its current iteration, the focus is on this is what this moment would look like in a musical, this moment from the
Yeah.
story, instead of what is the story around this heart.
And I think by changing the layout, you would also cut some of the. There are times where like the musical cuts like a movie to a new scene, and I think
Mhm.
if we cut to, but it's still Odysseus. If we cut to someone else and we cut back to Odysseus, we lose the okay. Well, what is he doing in between this? Like
Right.
it kind of
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't make us think about that as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the ending is strong, and if that would
Mm-hmm.
not really change the last two songs. I think everything leading up to it
Yes.
is
Right.
up for some
Right.
rearranges, but
Yes, they're very intimate, I think is the word. And I think
yes.
that's a good way to end the end the whole thing is just because that's I mean, like Hannah said, that's his entire motivation. So ending it on that high note, not
Yeah.
a really high note, but
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
intimacy and that relationship as his big motive.
And it contrasts with all the other
Mhm.
big
Yes.
stuff. Quick
Big
lore
flaws.
check. Yeah. Athena, when Odysseus arrives, disguises him as a poor guy. He meets a swineherd. There's a lot of lying happening. He's reunited with his son with Athena's help. They hatch a plan to outwit the suitors. They come home. Odysseus is in disguise, and the suitors are rude to Odysseus, which is being rude to guests is a big crime in their culture. So at one point, like they're being rude
Mhm.
to Athena in disguise, and Telemachus is
Yes.
not rude, and that's why he's
I remember this.
likable, and that's why the Cyclops is rude because he's smashing his guests against the wall, even though they came in uninvited. But like,
Mhm.
Listen. Mm-mm.
yeah, hosting is a
He did
big
nothing wrong.
thing enforced by Zeus. Like that's a big part of their culture. Um, Penelope doesn't recognize Odysseus in disguise, but his old nurse does. She recognizes him as like he gets in a fight with a suitor. The old nurse is cleaning him up and she recognizes the scar on his foot.
Mm.
And then his old dog remembers him and then
Uh,
sees him and can finally die because
That's an
they've been
old dog.
reunited. Yeah.
we got
20 years. Yeah. We get Penelope coming out giving the challenge, who can string my husband's old bow. Odysseus is the only one that can do it, and then immediately kills the most annoying suitor. And then he kills them all, including a goat herd who is rude to him. And then Penelope's maids who slept with the suitors are all hung. That image haunted Margaret Atwood, which inspired the Penelope ad. And then Penelope tests Odysseus with the story of the bed and to be like, "Are you my husband?" She tests him, and they reunite. And then we get an epilogue where Odysseus reunites with his retired dad in the house. Athena stops revenge plans of the suitors' families. And in Hades, the suitors talk to Achilles and Agamemnon, being, "This is what's up." And Agamemnon is like, "Penelope's more faithful than my bitch ass wife who killed me when I came home." It's like, yeah, well, the last thing you did was sacrifice her daughter to sail, so she probably didn't like you.
yeah.
Uh, Usually we're like, what do we think of our protagonist? What do we think of? I think we talked a lot about all these characters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Odysseus, we do struggle with. We want him to be fun and goofy, but he also does scary things. I think it's
I
mostly
want him to be fun and goofy. I think unfortunately he needs to be one or the other. I don't know.
I think
Unless
they
like the level
most
of goofiness needs to be matched up.
I think they mostly hit the balance, but I think because of the structure issues, I think
Maybe.
you could restructure and then hit the balance even better.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I do think we lose sight sometimes of Telemachus. Penelope doesn't show up till the end, even though when we do see their relationship, it's very touching. And our antagonists, Zeus and Poseidon, are scary and fucked up.
Yeah, they suck.
They do
Um,
suck.
so I guess it's time for a big question. Was that your fantasy? Two-part. Is that a journey you want to live out? And is Hannah's eyes. And did you like it? Let's start with Hannah. Was that
Okay.
your fantasy?
I would not want to live this out. Odysseus really had a lot going on. I also wouldn't
Yeah.
want to be like Penelope in this version
No.
either.
A bunch of men in your house eating all your shit.
Gross.
That's baseline before we even get to the other stuff.
Exactly.
Mm.
So, I'm gonna say no, I don't want to live it out. And I'm gonna say that this was not my fantasy, that if I'm going to view it as a whole musical, as an entire story, I don't think it's effective, at least telling that story. Individually, I think each of these moments are really cool. And then seeing the growth of the project is also really cool and it makes it really special. So my critiques kind of divide there, where it's like I'm way more forgiving when I recognize like I was not meant to view it like this. I'm also
Mhm.
not the target audience. And this was a growth project.
Yeah.
You know, this wasn't polished every single moment like Hamilton was. We saw the
Yeah.
most polished version of that musical, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
sure there are a lot of iterations where his lyricism wasn't that great. So, you know, I think this does intrigue me as a musical though. So that's where I also stand is like, I'm interested in this. It needs to go back to the drawing board quite a bit for me. It was not my fantasy, but I want this to succeed potentially if it goes further. You know, I would love that for them.
Lil, was that your fantasy?
No.
No.
What?
So I
That's
think I know,
crazy.
crazy. So I mean, like I said, I had no idea with the Odyssey. I had never heard of any of this music or anything. So I'm going into this completely blind to everything. And I made a point when we were watching it. I'm like, why does this feel so long? Yet everything feels so rushed. So I mean,
That's a
like
good point. That is a
it's
yeah.
it's I mean, like Hannah said, I do give it some grace knowing that it was, a passion project over a lot of years. It wasn't meant to be consumed in such like a long span of time, like how we did it all at once. Um, but it just felt so overwhelming because I'm listening to the music, listening to the lyrics. So I'm analyzing the songwriting, I'm analyzing the visuals, and trying to understand the story all at one time. And it was
Yeah.
just not very approachable in that sense. I still question some of the songwriting because that's kind of how I approach musicals is, and like Hannah said, it's very on the nose, so it kind of
Yeah.
made that a bit easier to understand. But then there were parts where I started to question the lyricism or the songwriting or what was happening, and I felt like I was bouncing back and forth between all three of those aspects at once, and it was just a lot to take in. And it
Yeah.
felt like it moved on so fast from one story beat to the next that it was really hard to follow. Because I felt like there were a handful of parts where I am just being introduced to these characters, but then they only show up once or twice, and then they're gone, and then I have to recall it all later while the story still continues. So it was just very difficult to keep up with.
Yeah. I mean, I do
Too
think
epic.
I am like I'm approaching as, oh, this is how they do Cersei. This is how they do Scylla.
Mhm.
But I know that they're there. Like
Yes.
because I'm like, oh, I guess this is how they do Charybdis. That's weird. But
Mhm.
like I know that Charybdis is a thing going into this.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
think that's where I approach it. Because I would say yes and no, in that no, I don't want to live out a journey where I'm stuck on the sea for 20 years, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, least favorite Narnia book. I don't love a long voyage.
Mhm.
I will
Mhm.
say being a character in an animatic anime video game inspired musical of Greek mythology would be kind of fun.
Sure.
So maybe that aspect of the journey. I would say I like this. I like that it's this unique storytelling form.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think maybe it isn't meant to be watched the way we consumed it.
Yeah.
Um, I liked a lot of the songs. I
Mhm.
think definitely if it were to exist in in a more traditional form, a lot
Mhm.
would need to be done.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there's like so much talent and fun in the
Yeah.
songwriting, and it's so hard to do. I think a lot of people,
Mm.
I've heard people complain about a lot of lyrics in this and in other things where I'm like, write a song and then tell me, because
Right.
it's
Mhm. Yeah.
hard.
It is
And
hard.
it's hard to not be on the nose. It's hard. Like, I think the greats are the greats for a reason, and you have
Right.
to. I'm excited to see where this guy goes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll stay in the fandom space. I don't know if his career will like take on a more traditional approach. Maybe he's allowed to be more creative because he's outside of a traditional approach. I don't know, but like I think there's a lot of reboots and revivals in movies. There's a lot of reboots and revivals on Broadway. A lot of movie to musical adaptation. So it's fun to. It's still an adaptation, but it's like a pretty original take on the Odyssey. And I think it's managed to get out of Lin-Manuel Miranda's shadow enough, though you see it a lot at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do like it. I'll say it's my fantasy. Now, Lil, before you go,
Mhm.
thank you for coming on this epic Odyssey with us.
Thank you. It was very epic.
And for spending time in a hotel room watching this animatic musical,
Mhm.
where you make a lot of content online. Can you
do.
tell us about your content and where our listeners can find it?
Yeah, so my username online is LillTCG, so that's LILLTCG. So I am on TikTok and Instagram, posting about nerdy stuff, Magic the Gathering, video games, all that. And I recently started streaming on Twitch. I don't have a schedule up just yet, but that is in the works. And then I also have a podcast of my own, actually. It's called I Hate This Game, where my friend and I talk about video games and there are things that we like, but just a little nitty gritty things that we don't like about them. And that's I Hate This Game on Spotify and on Instagram and on YouTube.
Great. I hate this game and
I hate this game.
TCG. I do have a small TCG collection of Lorcana cards.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
The mouse gotcha.
The mouse got me. It's got me since a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah. Hannah, where can you find us?
Well, a little crossover did happen with Lil and I. I was on her stream last week, so that was fun. We played some Overcooked. Yes, Chef.
Yes, Chef.
So maybe in the future, if we do that again, it'll get posted on our Instagram to let you know if you don't already follow Lil. But you can follow us on Instagram at Not My Fantasy Pod. Almost said Glee Beach.
Almost said. We were talking about Kurt Hummel, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're watching YouTube, hi, hello, you can.
Smash that like button like Penelope and Odysseus smashed when that camera went black.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you are on YouTube, have you watched this? And which one's your favorite number?
Yeah, comment below, and then we'll link below the version that we watched for the pod.
Yes.
You can follow me on Instagram at Cullen Ever After. Make sure I can tell you're not a porn bot. And then tune in next time for, depending on exactly how we release these episodes, we'll either be going back on an Odyssey with Christopher Nolan.
This specific Odyssey.
Yeah. And Anne Hathaway and whoever the man is who's playing Odysseus.
Matt Damon?
I do like Matt Damon. He's the Born Ultimatum.
He is.
Yeah.
He's the Born Identity. He's the Born Supremacy. He's the Born Ultimatum. He's Reborn? Is that one of them? I don't know.
Sure.
Never
I
seen
believe
any
you.
of these.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or we could be going on the quest for the Golden Fleece with Jason and the Argonauts and our friends Michael and Callum on Once Upon a VHS.
Yay!
So either way,
it's gonna be a good episode.
It's going to be a good episode where we're voyaging. More voyages ahead for
Epic voyaging.
Epic voyaging.
What was it called? Full Speed Ahead?
Full Speed Ahead.
Full Speed Ahead.
So, Lil, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Listeners,
see you
later. Next time. Bon voyage.
Epic.
Epic.